there's probably around sort of 30 or 40,000 at the MCG. They're sort of up towards the three-quarter of the back of the Shane Warne stand, but hopefully a few more will roll in the next 15 to 20 minutes before the opening bounce of Saturday afternoon footy for round 2. Ben, no late changes, but Travis Boak, for as long as he's been around, gets a different role as the substitution this afternoon.
Yeah, Ken Hinckley speaking during the week about how he resisted the urge to bring him back in quickly. So coming back from a rib injury that he sustained in the pre-season, Travis Boak, he'll start as the sub, and they'll pull the trigger on that at some stage. Interested to hear Ken Hinckley also speak about the fact that they'll wait to see how it plays out, and maybe in the second half look to pull that lever, if you will. Reef McInnes, the sub for Collingwood for the second consecutive week. We've
got a chance to hear from Ken Hinckley on the lead with Adam Ramanauskas and Cameron Ling. We'll play our South Australian listeners just a couple of minutes of that in a few moments' time. So, Rama and Berkey, for our listeners that have just joined us for the first time, maybe one or two things you're particularly looking forward to in today's clash.
Well, I think what I'm looking forward to is Bobby Hill and Dan McStay, and seeing just how they fit into this Collingwood forward line. I thought Bobby Hill was terrific last week, the way he went about his football. Dan McStay was a little bit quiet, but what Bobby Hill allows to go and spend more time in the middle of the ground, because they then do have another attacking dangerous weapon to hit the scoreboard. So that's probably what I'm looking at Collingwood. With Port Adelaide, well, I want to understand more again if last week was real. Like, I love what they did last week. I love how they played the game. They attacked. They went right at Brisbane, and they beat Brisbane up around the ball with just speed and work rate. Without Travis Boak, who's one of the hardest workers in the AFL. So, was last season? Do we give it a mulligan where they finished 11th? Because the previous seasons before that they've been playing in prelim finals, so they're a good outfit, Port Adelaide. But Horn Francis comes into this side who's different again in the middle of the ground. So terrific game. I think with two contenders for the latter part of the year, Berkey.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think it's a little bit of a changing of the guard at Port Adelaide. For years, it's been your Boak and Jonas and Wines and Dixon and these sort of guys. For me, if Port Adelaide are going to be any good this year, well then it's going to be on the backs of your Bergman, Dersma, Rosie, Georgiadis, even a Horn Francis in the second year, Butters, Marshall and Houston and Burgoyne and Rioli. This young crop coming through really need to be the ones who are driving this team. And the icing on the cake are the Dixon and the Boak and the Wines and these sort of players. That they're not carrying the load, they're part of what's actually happening. So see if those young fellows in this big Coliseum here against Collingwood at the MCG can really stand up and carry the load there. For Collingwood, again, you can't ask Pendlebury and Sidebottom and these guys to have better seasons than they ever have. They're not at the stage of their career where they're going to do that. So I'm looking at the McCrearys and the Nobles and these sort of players, and young Dacos are coming through as well. Are they, Quain or down back now, has been in the league for quite a few years, are they going to be the ones who are going to carry the load? And Pendlebury can just run around and do his own thing and not have to carry the team forward. So a bit of a changing of the guard for both teams, really.
Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas, your experts on Grandstand AFL Saturday this afternoon. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron to call the action. The final member of our team, Lauren Borton, is amongst some of the fans who have made their way here to the MCG. Lauren, welcome again to you.
Thanks, Clinchy. Yes, I've just been down here as Port Adelaide unveiled their banner for today. I've got a member of the Port Adelaide cheer squad, Kylie, with me. You came over on the bus. There was a couple of bus loads coming across. Can you take us on board the bus? What's it like on there?
Yeah, the vibe was pretty intense. It's been the first bus in 3 years, so everyone was keen to slog it out for the 10 hours over here and keen to get it on for the game as well.
And with it being the first bus that's come over, did you have a few more people wanting to join in?
Yeah, absolutely. We signed up probably half a dozen new members as well for the cheer squad, and there was about 50 of us that came across on one bus, so yeah, it was good.
Is it a little bit like the school bus when you got 50 people on there, where it's the rowdy people at the back and the quieter ones out the front?
a bit like that. That's why I sit at the front.
Well, you've also been allowed to wear the prison bar jumpers. I've seen a few members of your cheer squad are always wearing them. Yeah. What does it mean for you, particularly in the cheer squad, that you're able to wear those, especially against Adelaide next week?
Yeah, it's about the heritage. It's the most successful Guernsey in the history of the league, of the game as well. So it's something that we're pretty proud to wear and looking forward to wearing the prison bars next week.
And in a few weeks, you won't be travelling. Everyone will be travelling to you, to Adelaide for Gather Round. There's 16 teams coming across. What's the Port Adelaide welcome going to be like?
Hostile might be a word, but also excited.
We wouldn't expect anything less. Thanks very much, Kylie, for having a chat. Good luck.
Thanks to Lauren Borden. Thanks to Kylie. I feel like that painted all different types of pictures.
Sort of gather round welcoming might have been a more ideal word to use rather than hostile.
She's honest.
Good on you, Loz. We can still smell a bit of the fireworks as Collingwood made their way out onto the MCG in the background, and Port Adelaide are going through their final preparation. So much to look forward to from today's clash. We had the chance to catch up with Ken Hinkley, the Port Adelaide coach, on the lead. So for our South Australian audience, here's a little bit of Ken's focus. And he started by chatting about Willie Rioli Jr. and Junior's impact on Port Adelaide.
We certainly brought Willie into the club knowing that we needed to fill a void left by the great, and that was Robbie. Robbie Gray was a fantastic player for us for a long time, and Robbie wasn't by the end, and that's why he retires. He wasn't quite at Robbie's absolute best at the end. But to bring Willie in, and you always get a spike, as you know, Rama, when you bring new people to your club. If you give them the environment that they're craving and looking for to make a new start, not saying anything about their previous environments other than that, most people make a change and they're pretty anxious, they're pretty nervous, and you have to settle them in really well, and they've got to feel really engaged at their new place. I think we do that pretty well at Port. So Junior's come into the club and settled in really well. I've got an incredible bond with him from previous parts of our lives. I actually coached his father, which is a remarkable story in itself, and I'm now coaching his son. And you get a bond there that's real. And unfortunately, Junior's dad passed away at the end of last year. So all those things add up when you're putting things together. And purely from a sporting point of view, the connection piece is massive. And for him to feel as connected to his new footy club, to his coach, and the people around him, he's got a lot of family around him in Adelaide. It certainly makes a big difference.
How similar, Kenny, are the personalities and the playing traits?
They're a bit different, if I'm being really honest. Senior was full of bubble and full of energy and never stopped talking, and Junior just lets his footy do his talking most of the time, but he's an infectious person too. They're both very similar in that you can't not love them. They're just great people.
Kenny, your 11th season in the AFL competition.
You're the first person to tell me that this year, I reckon.
I'm more wanting to know, you touched on the great start last week, and unfortunately last year you didn't have the best record away from the Adelaide Oval. 3 wins and 8 losses. You didn't win a game here at the MCG. So with all that experience, when you look at your playing group before a game here at the MCG, a big game against Collingwood, how do you try and know that they've got the belief is one thing, but instill the execution that they're fired up and ready to deliver once more?
Yeah, over the journey we've played very well here as a footy club, and you don't always win at AFL football. We played games here last year. I think we might have played maybe Richmond, Collingwood, and they were sort of one goal margin games. So they were tight, close games. We didn't not play great footy here, but we actually played against great teams. And when we get to come to the G, more often than not, we come to a team that's pretty highly regarded in the town, and they're playing pretty good footy. So that's what happens, and we're really more than confident that we can play well here, though.
And Travis Bokers, the substitution this afternoon, how many times did he try and convince you that he could play a full game if you needed him to?
It was more me convincing myself that we didn't need him to play a full game. So that was the challenge for us as coaches, that Trav's 327 odd games has been a star for us as a footy club. But I've learnt more and more over the journey that even as great as you are, preparation is really critically important to your outcome and your success as a player. And Trav knows he's had pretty much 6 or 7 weeks now leading into this first round that have been less than ideal for him to prepare, and he's a professional. He's an absolute pro when it comes to doing that. So, and he also recognises the team's performance last week and knows that he's grateful to be in the team.
Ken Hinkley, the Port Adelaide coach, joining us on the lead alongside Brisbane Lion midfielder Josh Dunkley. It's available under the Best of ABC Sport if you want to listen back to a couple of those interviews leading up to today's clash, Port Adelaide and Collingwood from the MCG. Matt Klitsch alongside Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden down on the boundary, Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke are your experts. So a couple of the TV shows focused on the Corridor Pies under Craig McRae. I've got no doubt Ken Hinckley's assistant coaches would have gone to work in the manner in which Collingwood have been playing. And how much do you expect they'll try and stifle that today, Rama?
Oh, well, it's always the quickest path home. Okay, going straight down the middle of the ground, and it still amazes me more teams don't do that. But that was, I think, the defensive nature of the game there for a period of time. Look, I think Ken he'll commit numbers to the middle of the ground when they press forward. That's I think what Ken will do. So, you get wide at the MCG. It is a long way home. It's probably 2 extra kicks when you get wide out on the wings. So that's where Ken will be wanting to push Collingwood, and he'll want to slow Collingwood down as much as he can. They'll want to force turnovers for Collingwood, because what happens is when Collingwood attack, they do commit a lot of numbers forward, so they can be scored against. And that's been proven. Even last week against Geelong was still able to score quite comfortably against Collingwood. It's just Collingwood overwhelmed them in the end with their run. So they're going to get enough chances, Port Adelaide. It's just how many they can take, Perky.
The good thing about Collingwood is they use the corridor, and a lot of teams say, look, I'm not going to use the corridor because if the ball turns over, it's too easy for the other team to score. Collingwood conceded a score from just 5% of attacking midfield turnovers, which was number 1 in the competition. So against Geelong, turning the ball over only scored against 5% of the time. So that means that they've done a heap of work on how to actually defend the ball when we do turn it over. So it's not just all one way. We set up Darcy Moore and all the other guys in defence so that if it does come back, we can stop it. And they're very, very good at that as well. So whilst we talk about their attack, they do set up really well defensively.
Collingwood made the decision to part ways with Brodie Grundy at the end of the season. Scott Lycett is one of the premium ruckmen. He had a tough year last year with injuries, but that's potentially one area where Port Adelaide might look to get on top, depending on which midfield group have the better days. And the other part is Port Adelaide's forward line. Todd Marshall is a great up-and-coming player. Had a great record away from home last year, even though the Port Adelaide side didn't themselves. But coming off a career best season last year where he kicked 45 goals, I can't wait to see how he goes this afternoon. I still think that forward line is a bit of a work in progress for Port Adelaide, and what the right sort of mix is. Dixon's now back. Marshall, Georgiades is down there at times, but it's probably the importance now, and Ken mentioned it earlier today with Willie Rioli and Fantasia. It adds that different dimension of unpredictability for them because they're just dynamic players.
They took 24 marks inside 50 last week, which is an enormous amount. If they do that again today, they're going to be right in this game, but I can't see that happening. So to me, a lot of it is just this midfield battle. Who's going to give their teams the better look going forward?
Lauren Borden's in the front row of the grandstand. Welcome once more to you, Lauren.
Hello, Clinchy. It's very nice to be down here. Perfect conditions for footy, to be a spectator. Bit of blue sky peeking from the clouds. There is a bit of wind. It's been swirling around like it does at the MCG. Gone to the city end at times. Now it's blowing back to the punt road, but it was Tom Jonas who won the toss for Port Adelaide, and they'll kick towards the city end for the first quarter.
Thanks very much, Lauren. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. So Collingwood and Port Adelaide looking to continue the perfect start to season 2023. On Grandstand AFL, here's Ben Cameron to get us underway.
The umpire lays it down. Lycett and Cameron. Lycett wins the first tap towards Wines. Rosie picks it up, taken into Pendlebury tackle. And it's held in. We'll get a secondary ball up in the middle.
So just watching Nick Dacos. Looks like Lockie Jones has the job on him.
Bergman loses the footy. He's caught holding the ball. Pendlebury pinging him. He'll have the free kick in the middle of the MCG. So Scott Pendlebury wheels around onto that trusty left, goes low inside 50. Cox coming up at the footy, hands to it, doesn't take the mark. Elliott at the fall of the ball. All of this on the attacking arc for the Pies. Nobody able to gather it cleanly as yet. Crisp knocks it out. Nick Dacos backfeeds a handball towards Noble. Sidesteps a couple. Handball misses the target. Eventually Pendlebury gets it. Fires it back out to Noble. Kicks the Pies back inside 50 to Goey. Drops a mark he should have taken. Now Pau Pepper goes in for Port. Back on the attacking arc for the Pies, picking it up side bottom. Away to Cameron. He's dragged down in a tackle. Pinged holding the ball, and Port will come away with it.
They look to try and take it quickly through Rose. He gets the hand pass away to Bergman. Feeds the hand pass wider still to Pau Pepper. Around the members' wing. Spots up Charlie Dixon. who has Frampton for company this afternoon, and a 50-metre penalty.
He didn't... Goodness me. So the player on the mark was Frampton, and the umpire must have said, no, you're taking too long to come back, so you've got to stand. He was moving back to go outside 5, and the umpire just said, you didn't go outside 5 fast enough, and I'm going to pay 50-metre penalty, ruin the start of the game.
So it's a give for Port Adelaide. Dixon is only about 15 metres out, slightly right of centre. And a chance to give Port Adelaide the opening goal inside the first 2 minutes. Charlie Dixon comes in, delivers straight over the goal umpire's hat. And Port Adelaide are on the board here at the MCG in round 2. They're 1 straight 6 to Collingwood yet to score. He had a challenging start to last season with an ankle injury, Charlie Dixon, but he's showing that he's able to be a dominant force if he can get enough of the footy.
So, Berkey, I'm just watching Nick Dacos and Lockie Jones. So the ball's bounced in the middle to start the game. Dacos just sprints into the middle of the ground. Jones follows him. Dacos gets all the way to the half-forward line with Jones still there. Gets a possession. Ball turns over. And then you see Lockie Jones making his way back into Port Adelaide's forward line. Dacos won't go with him. That's how Dacos gets himself free. When there's that space and separation, that he is such a hard-running player, but it looks like Jones it's going to be a tight tag today.
Sun shining on the MCG as we restart. Horne-Francis over the footy. He can't quite squeeze it out. And another ball up.
If Jones is smart, he can have a field day today.
Lycett backhands
look for him.
Lycett backhands it down. Adams onto the footy for the Pies. Tumbles it towards half forward. McStay comes out. Handball knocked away. Burn-Jones for Port. Handball to Horne-Francis. Bumped off at Dersma. Going in, Rosie Gathers. Gives it out towards Farrell. On his left leg, a chip kick to Lycett. And Port try and move it down the southern stand wing.
Feeds it inboard. Hand pass came to Junior Rioli, who's locked up. Not a great hand pass from Kane Farrell, selling him into traffic, but he's locked up on the AFL logo on the southern side of the MCG. Port Adelaide a goal. Collingwood yet to score through the opening 3.5 minutes. Quick kick out of the congestion. The way of Port Adelaide. Butters tries to race after it. Dixon tries to tap it to his advantage away from Frampton. Frampton over the footy. Dixon over the top of him. 45 metres out from Port Adelaide's goal at the city end of the MCG.
Giving away a 50-metre penalty. Not the greatest start to a new team, Billy Frampton.
No, against your old side as well.
The only way he's up from here.
Cameron wins down the tap for Collingwood. Junior Rioli has it. He's locked up by Josh Dacos and Darcy Cameron, and we'll do it once more. Just inside 50 for Port Adelaide.
Well, with the only score of the game, a goal for Charlie Dixon. Taking it off the bounce is Cameron. Gets a kick away for Collingwood. Side bottom, hacks it out in midair towards the wing. Bouncing ball, it tumbles out, and the umpire says deliberate.
Jeez. That's poor feel for the game by the umpire. It's not deliberate. It's not insufficient intent.
So Lycett with the free kick for Port. Kicks towards the attacking 50 in the Dixon direction. Frampton there with him, brings it to ground. Noble picks it up, kicks the Pies towards the wing. Coming out, Cox, he takes the mark on the logo.
Feeds the hand pass away to Nick Dacos. It's a vacant 50. He puts it out in front of Myercheck. Bonner offers the chase. In fact, it's Burton. He brushes off Burton, snaps off the outside of the boot, but misses to the left-hand side. And through for Collingwood's first score of the match, a behind. To Port Adelaide, 1 straight 6, 5 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
Good to see Mason Cox coming at the ball, up on the wing, being that big target coming off half-back line. Just needs to handball it off every time and puts the Port Adelaide defence under a lot of pressure.
So Farrell with that long left leg, kicks towards the wing in front. Strong mark.
What are you saying, Berkey? Tall men should kick?
Absolutely.
Darcy Cameron in front of the back.
Darcy Cameron's just burnt Noble for the handball.
So it looks like he is going to kick it again. Here he goes, the big man sets it up towards full forward. Myercheck in best position. Can't complete the mark. Houston robes the pack. Tackled by Elliott. Umpire says holding the ball. Elliott pings Houston. And the mark will be set 15 metres out. Slight angle to the left of centre. And Jamie Elliott can go back and try and kick the Pies first.
Terrific tackle by Elliott.
I know that seems to be the rule that if you've got one arm free, then you should get rid of the ball.
Drop it on your boot stick.
But if you haven't got prior possession...
Elliott runs around and snaps through the Pies first. First lead change of the day. 1-1-7 Collingwood. They lead Port Adelaide 1 straight 6. We've played 6 minutes and change in this opening term on Grandstand AFL. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke.
Yeah, just to finish, if you haven't got prior opportunity, the ball comes to you, you catch it in one arm, you're getting slung straight to the ground. You can't bring one leg up, you probably snap the other one off. It's a really tough decision, that one, I think, if you haven't got prior opportunity. But for mine, Port Adelaide got a goal, probably didn't deserve at that end. Collingwood get one at that end. We're starting the game afresh.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. There was a lot about Jamie Elliott's finish in clutch moments, but he was the number 1 tackling player inside attacking 50 in the AFL last season. So that on display there to give Collingwood their first goal and the lead for the first time. Back in the middle, Cameron and Lycett spills the way of Tom Mitchell for Collingwood. Willem Drew over the top of him. He can't knock it clear. It's still in the inner of the centre circles in the middle of the MCG. Plenty of numbers around this ball up. Lycett and Cameron can't get a decisive tap to it. It's stuck to Lycett. Willem Drew tries to rip it clear but can't do so.
Up it goes again. Both rucks with hands on it, coming through side bottom, straight into a Bergman tackle. And this time the umpire holds his arms to his chest. Puts it up again. Lycett slaps it towards the outside, going after it Butters, so too Bergman. Crisp goes in for the Pies, trying to pick it up Burne-Jones. Eventually spits out towards Rosie. Crisp still trying to pick it up. The big ruckman does in the end. Lycett gives it off to Drew. Kicks Port towards half forward, leading out. Georgiades is having a mark, wants to go short. Dixon hits up, and he takes it 45 out directly in front.
And that's the kick that every AFL player should look at more. Defenders now, they love dropping off. They drop off. So Georgiades takes that mark, turns straight away. Dixon goes straight at the kicker, and it's a really simple mark. We don't see that enough in our game anymore. It's such a simple passage of play for Port Adelaide.
What a start this would be for Charlie Dixon. From just inside 50, straight in front. Charlie's got a couple, as to Port, and it's goal for goal to start. Port Adelaide 2 straight 12, Collingwood 1-1-7, 8.5 minutes gone. Opening stanza on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, you're right, Ramo. It was doing my head in last night watching the football. You see a down the ground replay after a goal's kicked. You've got a defender standing right next to a forward, and the defender's thinking, you know what, I can read this.
Yes.
If the ball goes long, I'm going to go backwards. The forward goes forward towards the ball, takes an easy chest mark. And I was waiting for the commentators to actually point it out and say, that is terrible defending, terrible defending. And even Frampton then thought, you know what, I can either stay with Dixon, or if the ball goes long, I'm a chance to go back and get the footy. I'm going to take that option rather than go with Dixon. And too many defenders take that option these days, and we need to start calling it out.
Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. Darcy Cameron wins the tap in the middle of the ground for Collingwood. Got it to Mitchell, back to Sidebottom. Almost pushed off it by Willem Drew. Spills to Crisp. Good pressure from Rosie. A forced kick up to the wing for Collingwood. Houston ran onto it. Tagoe locks him up, spins him over, holding the ball. Not much of a prior opportunity, but it was a great tackle from Jordan Tagoe.
Being spun around in circles is not prior opportunity.
Tagoe plays on, sends it long towards Myercheck. Jonas as well set and takes the intercept mark for Port Adelaide just inside the defensive 50.
So Jonas, the Port Adelaide captain, backpedaling deep inside his defensive 50. Now we'll chip it laterally to Burne-Jones. Burne-Jones wants to switch it out towards Chase Burgoyne, who takes the mark, socks up, looking like a member of the family. The kick less so, misses the target in Dersma. Hoskin Elliott comes across and soccers it out on the bounce. We'll get a throw in. For what it's worth today as well, Will Hoskin Elliott passes David Rees-Jones for the most games played by an AFL player with a hyphen in their name.
Oh, wow.
You're taking over Corby's stats.
Yes.
Beautifully done, Ben Cameron. Knocked down by Darcy Cameron. Got it to Crisp and then back to Cameron. Kicks Collingwood inside 50. McStay underneath. Spoiled away from him. Hoskin Elliott on cue. Tries to run onto it. Lost his footing. Shoveled out a hand pass by Butters. Back to Aaliyah. He tries to get it to Darcy Burne-Jones. Little Topo. Chance for Dersma. Couldn't take it immediately, but now does get the hand pass to Burne-Jones. Dribbles a kick around the boundary. Cameron runs onto it for Collingwood. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. Couldn't link up with Pendlebury. Now Dersma's thrown into the turf and holding the ball.
Yeah, red hot today.
hot, yeah.
Big tackle from Darcy
they're
Cameron.
consistent, Berkey.
Yeah, hopefully.
Out wide to the right. He has it 55 metres out from Collingwood's goal.
Again, he's not going to kick the distance. The ball's got to get in quicker.
Goes short to Jack Crisp, who marks right on 50.
Maybe a chance here, Crisp, running out on his left.
He points towards the goal square, veers out to the left, sets fly towards the teeth of goal. Collingwood have Myercheck there, got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Hoskinelli tried to volley it forward, spills to Sidebottom, snaps on the right, perfect positioning. Joined us on ABC Sport before the match. He couldn't have been more laid back. He'd done his preparation, and there he is snapping goals on his right, as he has for the last 15 years. Collingwood all of a sudden take back the lead. 2-1-13 to Port Adelaide, 2 straight 12. 12 minutes gone, opening term, third lead change of the match.
He just positioned himself perfectly there, Sidebottom. As a winger, he just floated down to really... It was sort of outside the pack. It was to the left of where the pack was in front of goal, where the ball went. But yeah, as the winger, you have to push both ways on the ground, forward and back. On that occasion, Sidebottom pushes forward. Bergman, his direct opponent, was just nowhere to be seen.
Again, that's that lack of one-on-one defending. As a wing, if you're other opponents inside forward 50, you've got to be there.
Go with him.
Dixon in the ruck for Port Adelaide. Little 1-2 with Horne-Francis. Handball away to Drew. Moving it on Fantasia to Powpepper. Sweeps a handball inside 50. Wines picks it up. He's set upon by Pies. Ball spills out to Horne-Francis. Loses it in a tackle. Spills out to Fantasia. Squeezes it through. Is it coming back? No, it's through for a major. It was all very ho-hum. And Fantasia has put it through for Port as they take back the lead. 3 straight 18. Collingwood 2-1-13. 13 and a half travelled opening term.
Was it Horne-Francis who picked up the ball here? He got a tackle around the shoulder and he threw it over his head, thinking he was probably going to get a free kick, but I'm not sure whether the umpire paid it and called play on. But really good running forward there by Port Adelaide a couple of times. If the ball had just been cleanly handled, they would have ran into open goal. So their streaming forward is very, very impressive at this stage.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Orazio Fantasia, just the one game for Port Adelaide last season. He's on the board here at the MCG. 5 goals in the opening 14 minutes. Dixon having to do the ruck against Mason Cox. It spills to Crisp of Collingwood. Ricochets back to Dixon, but a free kick for a throw. And it's going Collingwood's way.
Nick Dacos has come back onto the field, onto the wing, and
Lockie Jones is straight with him.
And he's starting to get into his head a little bit of push and shove going on.
Crisp takes the free kick for Collingwood, long towards Mason Cox, just couldn't complete the mark. Elliott the hand pass to McCreary, vacant goal mouth. It pitches on its point, it bounces through. Collingwood getting the rub of the green early here, and they'll take it in what has been a shootout to start with. 3 goals apiece, and the 5th lead change inside 15 minutes. Collingwood lead once more, 3-1-19 to Port Adelaide, 3 straight 18.
Well, it's goal for goal in this first quarter. No team has kicked 2 consecutive goals yet in this quarter. But again, it's the dangerous position where the ball goes. You know, it's not let's kick it to the forward pocket and try lock it in and get a restart. It's kick it to the most dangerous part inside forward 50. 10 metres, 20 metres out from goal, directly in front, and then allow your smalls to go to work. Yep, okay, McQuarrie got a decent bounce there, but he's in the right position. And that's what's most impressive, that he's in the right position to strike.
Looks every bit like the 2 highest scoring teams of round 1 from the restart. Over the top of it is Tom Mitchell holding the ball. Drew with the free kick. Drives Port low inside 50, looking for a mark. Quaynor goes back, not paid the mark. Spills to Marshall, snaps on goal. Getting back, Murphy marks on the last line. There for the Pies. It was going through the major opening, if not for Murphy. He'll kick long horribly off the instep, out of bounds on the full. Just beyond the attacking 50 for Port Adelaide is where the mark will be set. Marshall sets it up towards full forward, looking for Dixon. Bounces into the goal square, and it's knocked through. Great defensive work getting back. Doing the work there, Will Hoskin-Elliott just as Jones was about to get a boot on it. So scores level, 3-1-19 apiece, 16 and change.
Nick Dacos brings Collingwood back into play. Long around the Ponsford stand. Mason Cox worked to the front. Jonas spoiled it down. Quick kick by side bottom forward. Might work. Myercheck takes the mark. Pass to the back of McCreary. Wasn't awake that it was coming to him. And Farrell takes it out of play in front of the two benches. Not far from where Lauren Borden's watching on.
I'm sitting down here with about 58,000 expected today. Looking around the ground, though, it looks like more than that. There is a little bit of teal speckled through. Not everyone's in their prison bar jumpers just yet.
Scott Lysett got a poke to the eye, but he's back here competing in the ruck against Mason Cox. Spills to Adams, who was taken high. Collingwood take the advantage through Tom Mitchell. Left half forward, drives the kick inside 50, looking for Elliott. Oh, McStay! McStay with a shove on Aliir and takes the mark.
Got away with one there, McStay.
In the left forward pocket, he wouldn't be more than 10 metres out. Just has to work the angle.
Got a running torpedo from Tom Mitchell inside forward 50.
I liked it.
Spun a few different ways. Dan McStay steps out, snaps it through. His second goal as a Magpie. And Collingwood lead by 6 points. 4-1-25 to Port Adelaide, 3-1-19. 18 minutes gone. Opening term on ABC Sport. You're with Adam Romanascus and Nathan Burke.
It's hard to get a style on both teams at the moment. Who's trying to do what? It's a bit scrappy. It's sort of shooting from one end to the other. There's not a lot of composure going on. But you know what? We've got 7 goals and only been playing 17 and a half minutes. So it's exciting, but it's a bit all over the shop at the moment.
It's just bouncing from one end of the ground to the other. So it's really a transition game at the moment from your defence to your attack, and then it's scoring really for it. Like inside 50s, 9 to Collingwood, 7 to Port Adelaide. On those 9 entries, Collingwood has scored 5 times.
Back in the middle, Cox lays it down beautifully for Adams. Handball away towards Nick Dacos to De Goey. He's tackled by Powell-Pepper. And the umpire to sort it out.
Yeah, Nick Dacos starting in the centre square now, so that's his 3rd position already this game.
Lysett and Cox lock up again. Lysett trying to find Horn Francis with the tap. Getting involved is Butters. Going on top of it, Mitchell quickly. Lots of players around the footy. Dersma knocks it out. Butters picks it up. Tackled by De Goey. Squeezes a kick forward. Pendlebury onto it. He's tackled by Horn Francis. Gets it off to Cox. Floats the Pies inside 50 with a kick. Myercheck can't mark. Cameron's there. Goes back to Myercheck. Big don't argue. Time to steady. Looking for McStay in the pocket. Misses him. Ball pitches close to the boundary line. He ducks into it. Taken high. And McStay will get the free kick in the left forward pocket. He'll give it off quickly to Adams, who will bend it home beautifully. Collingwood have 3 on the trot. And the first break in this game. They lead by 2 goals. They're 5-1-31. Port Adelaide 3-1-19 as we approach the 20-minute mark of this first term.
Oh, it's Pendlebury there in the middle of the ground, able to absorb the pressure and still get the ball going forward. Mason Cox just thumped it inside forward 50. Then Myercheck had every right to go for goal, but when the unselfish play to McStay, I thought McStay handballed the ball to Taylor Adams outside the field of play, but that's to my eye up here. It was a terrific finish by Adams, locked up on that boundary line to snap a goal.
Myercheck's looking pretty dangerous today. His pace is certainly causing that Port Adelaide defence a lot of issues.
There's not really a natural matchup for him. It's Ryan Burton at the moment, who's really playing as an undersized key position player.
Collingwood open up a gap here at the MCG. Free kick in the middle of the ground going Port Adelaide's way. It'll be Ollie Wines' free kick. Ball has to be retrieved after it was kicked forward, so it allows Collingwood to set up. Wines look for the hand pass around the back, but nothing really offers. So drives it straight inside 50. Dixon the target. Frampton was there. Spoiled to the front. Josh Dacos for Collingwood. Picked off by Dersma of Port Adelaide. Back into the middle of the ground for Wines. Gets it away to Burgoyne. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Lysett's there. Dixon in from the side. Can't take the mark. Marshall with the hand pass to Junior Rioli. Dribbles a kick towards the top of the defensive goal square. Moore decided to swap it back to Quaynor. It works in the end. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. And now to Noble out of defence.
Just stops, props, touches it on the ground and then kicks short to Nick Dacos. Loops a handball over the top to Noble, who's run on. Loops a handball further afield to Hill. Tight roping the boundary line, goes back to Noble again. The Pies down the Shane Warne stand wing. He'll kick them towards half forward. Through Myercheck it goes, bouncing ball out the back. Jonas tries to paddle. McStay knocks it forward for the Pies. Alir over the top of it. Umpire circling and will ball it up just inside the attacking 50 for the Pies. They lead by 2 goals. 21 and a half minutes played in the first.
Tossed up in the air. Cameron and Lyset. It's spilt down to Ollie Wines of Port Adelaide. Hand pass to Drew at half back to Rosie. Over the top to Butters. Called that a few times over the years. Searching hand pass to Rioli. Trying to find a way past Crisp. Unleashes Jones. Good tackle, Crisp. Got him. Holding the footy. As Jones couldn't get a hand to it to successfully get the hand pass away. And to go, he's tried to take the advantage, but that won't be allowed.
Well, good mark by the umpire there.
It was indeed.
Out in front, strong hands. And the left foot.
It was the umpire who marked it in front of
Peter Carey.
Peter
Carey.
Andre Gianfagna becomes a crowd favourite by instantly being able to execute not only the mark, but the kick as well. And Collingwood have the footy back in the middle of the MCG, leading by 12 points. Crisp sends it towards half forward, looking for Cameron. Burne-Jones got rid of him. Hell runs onto it for Collingwood. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott. Drives a kick looking for Mason Cox or McStay. McStay worked his way to the front. Couldn't take the mark, but will get a free kick for a hold.
I think it's going to Mason Cox, Clinchy.
Mason Cox will have it in the right forward pocket.
I think Alir just wrapped those arms around Mason Cox because of the height difference there. It looked like McStay was going to take that mark. But that's what that tall timber down there does to defenders at times. Makes them nervous. If they grab, tug on jump up, arms around waist. As soon as umpire sees that, it's an easy decision.
The aerial's threat of 211 centimetres now to convert the deed, and Mason Cox from the right forward pocket pokes it through. And Collingwood have 4 on the trot, and they're out by 18 points. 6-1-37 to Port Adelaide, 3-1-19. 23 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
Yeah, worrying signs here for Port Adelaide. Collingwood just starting to get on top, getting those repeat forward entries. So inside 50s, 12-9 in favour of Collingwood. But 7 scores from 12 inside 50s. They look really dangerous, whether it's in the air or whether the ball's along the ground. So they need to really either hold form for the rest of this quarter and go in 3 goals down, pinch one, but they can't let Collingwood score.
Easy decision for the umpire. Alir, no eyes to the ball, wraps his arms around Mason Cox.
Break the record for the man with 2 same names, Ben, playing the most games.
Back in the middle. It's a great club, Berkey. Got a secret handshake.
Yeah.
I'll see your hyphen stat and I'll raise your same name stat.
Lots of good ones. Out of the middle comes Dacos. This is Nick kicking towards the wing. Mark taken by Hoskin Elliott. Right on cue. Kicks dangerously into the middle. Going up Cameron. Saves the day. Takes the mark. Gives it off to Josh Dacos. Kicks into the pocket. Overshoots Hill. Fisted away by Burgoyne for Port. Burton tracks after it. Close to the line. Still going. Hill swoops on it. Steals it. Kicks swiftly towards Josh Dacos, who juggles and marks.
Did that go 15?
I've seen shorter paid.
The umpire gestured it was high on Horn Francis, so it would have been one or the other.
A Bergman.
It was, yeah.
So Dacos of the Josh variety will have the kick. 30-degree angle left of centre. Mark 35 metres out. To make it 5 on the trot for the Pies. He starts it right, brings it back and delivers. Josh Dacos with the major. And Collingwood well and truly on top. They're 7-1-43. Port Adelaide 3-1-19. 25 minutes gone opening term.
Oh, it's 5 goals in 10 minutes now to the Pies. And it's just, it hasn't necessarily been pretty football. But I just love their determination to take the ball forward at all costs. Play on. Keep the ball inside the field of play. Burgoyne should have punched that out. Then Bobby Hill could have easily just ran the ball over the boundary and just got a restart stoppage, a boundary line throw in. But took the ball at the boundary, looked inside, finds Josh Dacos. They just will the ball forward.
Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. Back in the middle of the ground, Cameron one down the tap, a chance for Pendlebury at Collingwood. Hand pass forward, past Wines to Goey. Came in hard, laid the bump on Bergman. The ball spills clear, picked up by Taylor Adams. Hand pass to Josh Dacos, arches the back, gets away from Wines, kicks inside 50. Cox is there, Myercheck as well, spilled to the front. Hill couldn't take it cleanly. Jonas tries to swat through. Mason Cox knocks it forward, but it's Alir who gathers. Hand pass to Farrell for Port Adelaide. Kicks for Butters. Risky kick. Noble spoils it down. Drew picks it up for Port Adelaide. Gives it back to Butters at half-back.
He kicks in the Dixon direction. They're beside Frampton, and towards the boundary line it goes, and out of play we'll get a throw in between wing and left half forward for Port.
So why isn't that a free kick against Jordan De Goey? Runs past the ball, chooses to bump.
No idea.
Was there high contact?
Put himself...
Got him straight down the middle.
Here's Butters with the clearance for Port, tumbling it inside 50. Dixon comes up, quickly wrapped up by Frampton.
This is the part of it. How does an umpire officiate against that? It's still part of our game, the bump, in some way, shape or form.
Cameron wins the tap down. Crisp with the clearing kick, and the mark taken by Adams. At centre half back for the Pies. They lead by 24 points, approaching quarter time.
Adams looks out to the southern wing, looking for Hoskin Elliott. It's spoiled away by Farrell and rolls end over end out of play under the Shane Warne stand. Inside 50s, Collingwood's way 14-10. The clearance is also 11-7. The Pies having kicked the last 5 goals in the last 10 minutes to lead 7-1-43 to Port Adelaide 3-1-19. 28 minutes gone opening term. Lysette from the throw-in, takes it out of the ruck, hand pass backwards to Rosie, dodging and weaving and losing Crisp, who slipped over. He turns and looks inboard, kicks for Horn Francis, he takes the mark in front of Nick Dacos. Turns corridor side, piercing kick looking for Pal Pepper or Georgiades. Georgiades couldn't take the mark. Rioli knocks it to his own advantage. Top of the attacking 50. Hand pass to Burgoyne. Looks into the pocket. Pal Pepper kept running. He takes the mark. No, Maynard came late. Made the spoil. Pal Pepper gathers. Hand pass to Georgiades. Back to Pal Pepper. Can't get boots a ball. He's still going. Gives it to Ollie Wines. He snaps across the face of goal and misses to the left-hand side. A minor score. Collingwood by 23 points, 29 minutes gone, opening term.
It's good to see Collingwood supporters supporting their North Melbourne cousins and actually booing Jason Horne-Francis. I'm not sure what it's got to do with Collingwood supporters, but they've taken up the form.
Just want a reason to be angry.
Nick Dacos with the kick in, spots up his brother Josh. He marks on the arc of defensive 50 for the Pies. At left half back. Looks around the members' wing towards De Goey. Just gave Horn Francis a little bump, protected the space and takes the mark. Now has Josh Dacos running by. He's been busy early. Here he is again on his left. This kick, not a good one, but unable to take the mark. Houston spills to Cameron, kicks the Pies inside 50. It tumbles out. And a throw-in, 45 metres around from their attacking goal. They've piled on 7. They've kicked the last 5 goals. They lead by 23 points over Port.
Funny thing is, if he kicks that kick on the wing, that's a deliberate out of bounds. Yeah. Because it rolls inside 50, it's not.
Darcy Cameron for Collingwood knocks it down to the front. Bergman was dragged off it. It spills to Taylor Adams. Willem Drew with an excellent tackle. Locked him up right on the hips and drove him into the ground and will win the free kick inside the defensive 50 for Port Adelaide. Collingwood by 23 points. Drew possession number 7 coming up behind Darcy Cameron and Josh Dacos for Collingwood. Wines looks around the members' wing, up towards Lockie Jones. He juggles the mark in front of Noble. Todd Marshall's just come on from the bench. He chips it further to him. Hand pass around the boundary line to Rosie. Right half forward for Port Adelaide. Long kick looking for Georgiades. Willie Rioli's down there as well. Junior trying to get boots a ball. Quaynor got a hand to it, and eventually he and Murphy rush it through for a minor score for Port Adelaide. Junior Rioli threatened at the top of the goal square almost to pull off something miraculous. Collingwood by 22 points.
So Nick Dacos with the kick in again, spots up Frampton. Didn't have the best start in his new colours. Gives it off back to Nick Dacos, who waits a kick beautifully for Mitchell. Just backward of the wing, members' side of the ground here for the Pies. They lead by 22 points. Past the half-hour mark in this opening term. Mitchell sets it up. in the direction of Myercheck. Fisted from behind by Jonas. Maynard soccers it off the deck towards the attacking arc here for the Pies. Here's Elliott in his pocket. He sweeps a handball over the top. McCreary puts on the afterburners. Off to Goey. Snaps it through. Misses. Under little pressure, 25 out. And Goey misses on the snap.
Jeez, that was a beautiful handball by Jamie Elliott.
And unselfish from McCreary as well.
Yeah, had every right to go have a shot at goal.
Lauren Borton on the boundary.
I think Scott Lycett's still having a little bit of trouble with that eye where he copped a poke there. Doctor came down and was trying to check his vision a little, so it might be blurry at the moment, and they'll try and sort that out at quarter time.
Thanks, Loz. Burton to Farrell. His lethal left foot up the southern wing. Marshall couldn't take the mark. Collingwood through Quaynor. Could have been taken high as he got it forward to Sidebottom. And it will come back to Isaac Quaynor, middle of the Shane Warne stand wing. In fact, it's going to be Sidebottom's free kick. He'll end up with the free downfield. Approaching quarter time. The Magpies with 7 goals to 3, including 5 goals in 10 minutes. And Sidebottom looks to send Collingwood into attack. Cameron sets himself and takes the mark. Aaliyah couldn't get a fist to it. Ollie Wines was there as well, and a good strong mark from Darcy Cameron.
It was, but I'm not sure why Ollie Wines is the man who has to run around and chase the opposition ruckman inside forward 50. Lear wasn't his direct opponent, but in the end it's Ollie Wines. Somebody has to realise a big long kick in, it's going to go to the tall players, so stand on him at least.
It's just adjusting his boot, Darcy Cameron, so I'll take his maximum 30 seconds. The shot clock is still at around 10 seconds. Out to the right, he'll shoot from just inside 50. Was a goal scorer in his new role at the Magpies, leading the ruck. Kicked 20 goals, 8 last season from a career best 24 games.
This is disposal number 10 in the first quarter for him.
Just a look at the clock and started walking in just as it hit 1. Darcy Cameron just inside 50. He shanked it and missed everything out to the right. And some Port Adelaide fans, the cheer squad at the Punt Road end, enjoyed that result. Collingwood still by 23 points.
So it's 10. Not all of them have been great, but he's had 10, which is it's almost a game's worth in one quarter.
Houston with the free kick, goes long towards Marshall, can't take the mark. Horne-Francis swoops on the footy, sweeps a handball forward to Rioli, comes infield with his kick just to Drew, backward of the logo. And that will end a first term that was goal for goal to start, and then Collingwood booting the next 5 to run up an advantage. They lead by 23 points at the first change.
So a dominant end to the quarter from Collingwood against Port Adelaide. Some of your thoughts on the SMS coming through, 0437 774 774. Is the great Berkey calling it as he sees it with the umps? Umps should give players more time to settle into the game and not be too harsh on players earlier. John from West Footscray, I thought Port Adelaide was wearing the Prison Bar outfit today at the MCG. No, that's back at the showdown against Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. And Rob from Montmorency, hearing Rama say, when Collingwood attack, I immediately think it must be a show on the Animal Planet channel. Maybe time for some swooping. Thanks, Rob, for your contribution. Collingwood by 23 points at quarter time on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Welcome to Sydney, 1983.
It was the hedonistic queer haven.
Come on, people!
That turns dark.
Something is killing gay men.
Are you referring to AIDS?
Where fear was infectious.
Our kids are not safe.
But courage was contagious.
So many of our friends are getting sick.
New ABC drama, inspired by real events.
We have a choice.
In our blood.
The world needs beautiful things right now.
Sunday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Jack Crisp veers out to the left, sets fly towards the teeth of goal. Collingwood have Myercheck there, got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Hoskinelli tried to volley it forward, spills to Sidebottom, steps on the right, perfect positioning
Drew, moving it on Fantasia to Pepper, sweeps a handball inside 50. Wines picks it up, he's set upon by Pies. Ball spills out to Horn-Francis, loses it in a tackle, spills out to Fantasia, squeezes it through for a major.
Crisp takes the free kick for Collingwood, long towards Mason Cox, just couldn't complete the mark. Elliott the hand pass to McCreary, vacant goal mouth, it pitches on its point, it bounces through.
Myercheck, big Donagi, time to steady, looking for McStay in the pocket, misses him. Ball pitches close to the boundary line, he ducks into it, taken high, and McStay will get the free kick in the left forward pocket. He'll give it off quickly to Adams, who will bend it home beautifully.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Great to have your company on Saturday afternoon footy. It's Collingwood and Port Adelaide from the MCG. The Magpies holding a 23-point advantage at the first break. 7 individual goal kickers for the black and the white. Elliott, Dacos, that's Josh Dacos, McStay, Adams, Sidebottom, McCreary and Mason Cox. Meanwhile for Port Adelaide, 2 to Charlie Dixon and 1 to Orazio Fantasia. I'm Matt Clinch alongside Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden down on the boundary. The thoughts of your experts, Adam Romanascus and Nathan Burke.
Well, look, a really good, I think, second half of the quarter for the Pies, where they, you know, from the 15-minute mark to the 25-minute mark, they're able to pile on 5 goals. And it's purely through attack, really. They're running plays. Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, Sidebottom, John Noble, all involved, all at the top of the stat sheet. But then you look at the contest work also. They're plus 20 in contested possessions for that quarter, the Pies. So that will really disappoint Ken Hinkley, that contested football, Collingwood's in and under players are winning it, dishing it out to those runners, then the ball's going forward. 17 inside 50s to 12, and you know to be able to score 9 times out of those 17 entries is going at a good rate. The Nick Dacos Lockie Jones matchup is an interesting one. How Nick Dacos at times gets himself free is through kicking the ball out from full back. So sometimes he's able to double up possessions there. So he's had 3 kick-ins. Of the 9 possessions, 3 of those have been kick-ins. But on 2 occasions in those kick-ins, he's doubling up possessions because he's then going to get the handball. So whether he kicks it short or whether he kicks it, he goes and gets the handball, then is able to exit defensive 50 for the Pies. I think Port Adelaide, they can't get trapped again with committing too many plays for themselves. Collingwood love turnover. They love that turnover game, and they go as quick as any team in the competition at the moment. So having some protection for their defenders will be really important in this second quarter.
Yeah, you mentioned that contested possession, 44-24. That's a big win, 20 up in one quarter. I think certainly Kenny Hinkley will be addressing that one. And also the ground ball gets 23-16 in favour of Collingwood. So that's when the ball's just loose around the ground. Who's getting there first? And it looks like Collingwood are working just a little bit harder to get numbers across to that loose ball, picking it up and starting their attack from just nothing type of plays. It's always Collingwood getting there first, and tackles 22-14. So they've had less possessions. They've had more possessions than Port Adelaide, yet they're having more tackles. So everything's working really well for Collingwood. They're almost playing that chaos sort of game. It's not pretty going inside 50, but gee, they look dangerous. For me, Port Adelaide, they're handballing the ball a little bit too much. There's 39 kicks, 36 handballs. It's almost one-on-one. It's inviting that pressure from Collingwood by keeping the ball in the area. So I want to see them look up the field a little bit more. Having Marshall, who hasn't really had an impact today, Dixon, these sort of guys, offering longer targets down the ground, getting the ball, playing the game in their half a little bit more than what they were in that first quarter.
Second half set to get underway. Collingwood by 23 points. Scott Lysett out there for Port Adelaide, competing with Darcy Cameron in this opening bounce. Lysett got it down to Wines, back to Lysett. Not officiating umpire says high contact. Port want to take the advantage. Lysett to Horn-Francis, then surely taken high was Orazio Fantasia. It'll come back and take the free kick just outside 50.
A little bit lucky there. He just panicked and handballed the ball forward. Could have been a little bit more composed. Got a runner coming past, but luckily got a high free kick and gets another chance.
Houston around the back, receives it from Fantasia. His kick is smothered by Noble. It spills towards Mitchell. Houston has another go at it. Quick hand pass to Dersma. Back to Horn-Francis. High kick to the top of the goal square. Dixon was cannon into. Marshall there. Murphy backwards. That's adventurous. Jones under pressure. He's shoved over the boundary line with the ball trickling out in front of him. Up against the right behind post with Isaac Quaynor right there. Port Adelaide deep in attack. Collingwood by 23 points.
Jones catches that quick ball out. He's got an easy snapper goal, but just fumbled it.
Forward 50 stoppage for Port. Cameron wins the tap down, has a couple of bites at it. Dixon picks it up, can't quite get rid of it. Noble emerges with the footy. Snaps around across the face of goal and finds McCreery.
The others on the ground.
Yeah, the defensive 50 puts it out in front of himself. Bergman will come across. McCreery meets him. Bergman has support from Burne-Jones. Gives it off to him. Who kicks short to Jones, met heavily by Maynard. And the Pies are there in numbers to win it back.
Hand pass inboard, miss McCreery, and now Josh Dacos becomes the tackler. Horn Francis tries to use his size and strength to break clear. He can't do so.
There's the difference. Maynard there chooses to tackle rather than bump, and that tackle is just as ferocious as any bump.
Thrown up just below our commentary position. Cameron wins down the tap for Collingwood. Dacos taken high by Horn Francis. That's Josh. He'll take the free kick at right half back. Did you like McCreery's chip and chase?
Loved it. Because if he would have kicked a boundary, it would have been deliberate.
He almost made it work. There's a question coming through as well from Gareth in Torquay. I'll get to in a moment, Berkey, about that insufficient intent as Josh Dacos up towards half forward. Houston was well set, couldn't complete the mark. Rosie tries to slide in for Port Adelaide. McCreery in his back. And Port Adelaide will get the free kick through Connor Rosie at left half back. Gareth wonders, Berkey, could you explain the insufficient intent rule? It seems different to the deliberate out of bounds description.
It is. So you have to have an intent to keep the ball in the field of play rather than I deliberately hit it out. You can mean to keep it in, but just not do it enough.
Port Adelaide coughing it up in the middle of the ground. Palpepper caught. And Pendlebury will get the free kick for the Pies. Maynard cruising by, elects not to give the handball to him. Pendlebury will instead send it out wide towards side bottom. So on the southern stand wing. Just looks at a crowded 50. Gives it the Babe Ruth. A little bit of gesticulation and now goes into the pocket. In the direction of Myercheck. Houston comes across. Spoils it down. Hill onto the footy. Snaps it Goldwood. Bergman gets back. Mops up for Port. Gets it on his right boot. Kicks it straight back to side bottom. Who marks 55 metres out.
Just assessing the options. Steele side bottom. Surely this is beyond him, but has a goal next to his name. He points towards the top of the goal square and puts it in the direction of Myercheck. He sets himself in front and got separation from Aaliyah. That's some tardy defending from Port Adelaide. They had a long time to set up.
Ultimately, you kick it to good spots, you usually get good results. It makes defenders really nervous.
There was 16 Port Adelaide players in front of him, combined with potentially 13 Collingwood players. Don't know how you find a hole.
Brody Myercheck, slightly left of centre from 25 metres out, looking to continue the momentum for Collingwood in the second quarter. Couple of steps from the goal umpire to his right, but given the all clear. And the Pies with the first goal of the second quarter. That's 6 goals now on the trot for Collingwood as they're out to a game-high 29-point lead. 8-2-50 to Port Adelaide, 3-3-21. 4 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
I'd have to say, on the whole, from what I've seen so far this year, and probably going towards the end of last year as well, defenders these days, the pendulum has swung a little bit too much in the favour of, hey, we're allowed to get the ball now. We're getting a bit of a name for ourselves by getting 15, 20, 25 possessions, and that's what defenders do. And the actual art of defending, stopping your player from getting the ball, has decreased. And there's no way in a million years with 29 players inside 50, Myercheck should lead out and take an uncontested mark. That's just terrible defending from Port Adelaide.
Up it goes back in the middle. To Goey onto the footy. Sweeps a handball forward to Nick Dacos. Looks inside 50 for a leading Elliott and finds him on his chest. Are you at all surprised? This beautiful user of the football finds Jamie Elliott on the lead.
Well, the end of the first quarter was ugly for Port Adelaide, and the start of this quarter is just as ugly. This could get out of hand and out of their control very quickly.
Yeah. So Jamie Elliott on the opposite quadrant of the ground to his famous goal late last year. He'll lay boot to ball from just inside 50. Looking for his second. It's a pretty good effort. It's just across the face, a minor score. And the lead the way of Collingwood is 5 goals neat. 2 minutes into this second term.
Port Adelaide need to put some pressure around the footy, otherwise this is going to get totally under hand. Houston, long kick up to the wing. Murphy spoils it down for Collingwood. Hand pass inboard to Nick Dacos. Looks towards the top of the 50. Missed McStay with his kick. Bergman dropped the mark though. Now Aaliyah has to try and lock up McCreary. And he does so. And the umpire's going to penalise him holding the footy, Bo McCreary. So Port Adelaide will get a kick out of defence with Aaliyah slowly getting to his feet. 6 minutes gone, second quarter. Collingwood by 30 points. They've kicked the last 6 goals of the match. So for Port Adelaide, you've got to go back to Orazio Fantasia at the 13-minute mark of the opening term. Houston out of defence, up towards the wing. Georgiades couldn't take the mark, and a hold as he gave away the free kick on Nathan Murphy, who takes it for Collingwood. Thought about moving it quickly, but slipped over.
So Murphy moves it on short to Mitchell.
So that's the new rule. If a player fakes the handball, it should be called play on.
Mitchell will set it up. Into the pocket, a run and jump. They all go at it. In front, Elliott roves the pack. Handball away to side bottom. Handball to Pendlebury. Handball to Adams. Running snap from 45. It's across the face. It will bounce through for a minor score. Collingwood's lead out to 31 points, 7.5 minutes travelled in the second term grandstand AFL.
Leary has to be very careful about how he uses his hands in a one-on-one marking contest, because that was almost another free kick.
Houston loves the grab.
Yeah.
Houston into the pocket for Burton. He's going to switch play from the right back pocket out to Bergman, who takes the mark at left half back.
It's a good kick, but what's next?
Under the Ponsford stand, he needs players to run from behind. Chase Bergman, who gets his opportunity this afternoon, runs into space.
Just not working hard enough, Port Adelaide.
It's listed at 186 centimetres. He looks tall, the second son of Peter. Sends it towards half forward. Up went Marshall, couldn't take the mark. Quaynor knocks it into the corridor for Collingwood. Powell Pepper onto it. Hand pass to Georgiades. To Fantasia. Left forward pocket, just can't finish. Got a shove from Darcy Moore just as he was trying to execute. It was great lunging effort from the Collingwood captain. And it misses the wrong side of the right goal post. Collingwood by 30 points.
It was their last goal kicker midway through the first term. Collingwood have piled on 6 since. Moore with the long kick in towards Hill on the wing. Can't quite pick it up. Eventually does. He's tackled then by Houston. Gets a kick away towards the wing. Rosie there. Picks it up for Port. Handball to Dersma. Short kick looking for Junior Rioli. He can't quite take it on the half volley. Side bottom. A couple of paddles out and over. And a throw in between wing and right half forward for Port. Collingwood leading by 30 points.
I'd wonder whether Kenny Hinkley's thinking, when can we bring Travis Boak on?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of experience to settle this team down a little bit. I'm sure he'd love to have him on there now, but it's a big call this early.
Lycett wins down the tap to Drew, trying to get it to Powell Pepper for Port Adelaide at half forward. Side bottom onto it. Tackled by Horn Francis. Powell Pepper emerges with the footy for the power to Rosie. It's all under tight confinement. Powell Pepper spun away from DeGoey. Almost brought down by Pendlebury. Got it to Dersma. Finds an outlet kick and Horn Francis takes the mark. Right half forward for Port Adelaide. Socks up.
Got the booze.
I'm still none the wiser as to why he's copying from the Collingwood fans, but it's all in good jest. Powell Pepper receives the chip kick over the top from Horn Francis. Right half forward. Drives a kick towards Dixon inside 50. Georgiades stuck his leg up. He wasn't in the marking contest and gave away the free kick in the end.
I'm sorry, but that was like me trying to take a specky. That was pathetic.
How many speckies did you take, Berkey, in your play career?
Why.
Yeah.
I used to take them like that.
It's not probably the image that comes to mind with you, the Australian Football Hall of Fame member.
Moore goes right up the middle. Adams can't quite take the mark. Mitchell comes to try and help out. Loses it under pressure. Adams goes back in for the Pies. Handball to Maynard. Handball to Pendlebury. Now Josh Dacos. Kicks the Pies to half forward. McStay comes up and marks. Takes on his man. Then runs into a cul-de-sac. Goes back to side bottom. Bullet-like pass. Looking for Elliott. Sticks up a hand. Can't quite mark it. And carrying it out in the end is Burton. Appeals for deliberate, nothing doing.
I love that kick from Darcy Moore, straight up the middle of the ground attacking. But what I don't like is the way Port Adelaide are transitioning defensively. Really slow, just allowing open space in Collingwood's forward line.
Just the 3 inside 50s in this quarter for Port Adelaide. Lycett shanked it down straight to side bottom of Collingwood. Hand pass to Quaynor on half forward. Can the defender kick a rare goal? He misses out to the right, and it just pitched inside the field of play as Burton saw it go across the boundary line. So a throw in the right forward pocket for Collingwood at the city end. It's the Magpies by 30 points. 11 minutes gone, second quarter. Port Adelaide still chasing their first goal this second quarter.
Boy, do they need one as well from the throw-in. Going after it is Elliott. There's a free kick. Port Adelaide player in Bergman just wrenched off the footy. He'll get a free kick at fullback. Collingwood leading by 30 points. 8-4-52 plays 3-4-22. Bergman kicks in the direction of Marshall, but Quaynor uncontested in the end. Able to take the mark.
It's because Marshall and Lycett and Horne-Francis, none of them actually wanted the ball then. Bergman had no one to kick it to because they were just trotting around going, kick it to me if you want to.
Quaynor sets it up towards full forward, fisted away by Jonas for Port, going after it. Elliott in the pocket, zigging, zagging, back to side bottom. He snaps back towards DeGoey, who marks. 25 metres out, a 45-degree angle, and Geordie DeGoey will go back and kick for goal.
Still side bottom should never be allowed to trot inside that 50-metre line without an opponent. He's just been trotting in there and doing exactly whatever he wants, no one going near him. He's far too good a player to allow that much time and space.
DeGoey trots in and hammers it through the middle. Collingwood with a 7th consecutive major, and the pendulum of this match well and truly belongs to the Pies. They're 9-4-58, Port Adelaide 3-4-22. It's a 36-point margin.
Collingwood are doing as they please at the moment because Port Adelaide are simply choosing not to go near their direct opponent.
Yep.
I think that's the 4th occasion now inside 50 where it's been a shorter kick and the Collingwood forward is in front of the Port Adelaide defender. That occasion, it's DeGoey, it's Dan Houston who's his defender. So that's, I think, where the disappointment will be for Ken Hinkley and his coaching staff. Simply, we're allowing Collingwood to do what they want because we're not applying the required pressure at ground level to force errors.
Adam Romanascus with you on ABC Sport. Charlie Dixon into the right one down the tap, but it's Mitchell for Collingwood. Hand pass to side bottom. Gets it forward to Hoskin Elliott. Inside 50 once more. Cameron the target against Aaliyah. Not officiating. Umpire says there was a hold, and just what Nathan Burt made mention of, the concern with Aaliyah with some of the size mismatches.
He's got his arms around him. As soon as the umpire sees that, he's got to pay a free kick.
Left arm under the left armpit.
There's no need for it from Aaliyah. He's athletically gifted enough to stand off and then go in the contest and spoil the ball. He doesn't need to get into a wrestling match with his direct opponent.
So Darcy Cameron out to the left, the second shot on goal, looking to become Collingwood's 10th individual goal scorer. From about 40 metres out, Cameron pushes it across the face and misses to the right-hand side. It's a game-high 37-point lead Collingwood's way. 9-5-59 to Port Adelaide, 3-4-22. The Pies with 2-3 in this second quarter to Port Adelaide's 1 behind.
The kick in from Burton, short to Burn-Jones, who sweeps it out towards left half-back, and Farrell can mark. Farrell will bite off the kick into the middle of the ground. It spots up Rosie. No, he drops it. And that might allow the Pies in. Little toe poke from side bottom to Crisp, to Josh Dacos. Running shot from 50. And for all of the love for his brother, he keeps saying, don't forget about me. A wonderful finish. He's got a couple, and Collingwood have 10. They're 10-5-65. Port Adelaide 3-4-22. A 43-point lead to the Pies.
Oh, it's 8 in a row now, Berkey. Yeah, you look at that. So Rosie drops that mark. Yep, okay, he should have taken that mark. But you look when that ball hits the ground and you look at the numbers around that contest for Collingwood. football can be a very simple game if you want it to be, and that was simply a case of more Collingwood players around that era from Port Adelaide where they're able to share it and eventually get it to Josh Dacos for a goal. 11 disposals, 2 goals for Josh Dacos on a wing.
As ground ball gets 39 to 24, and it's just getting blown out in this quarter. It is
16 to 8.
Yeah,
Collingwood's favour.
11 disposals and 2 goals for Josh Dacos. Collingwood get a free kick in the middle of the ground. Tom Mitchell, hand pass to Nick Dacos. Inside 50, this time Aaliyah marks on his chest. Work to the front against Cameron. Risky kick inboard. Rosie dropped the mark. McCreary sweats on him. Over the top. Collingwood with the numbers. Cameron, the hand pass to Elliott. Hand pass away to Pendlebury. Sidesteps Houston. Centres it up to Josh Dacos, who pulls in the one-handed mark.
No,
not paid.
The ump put the whistle to the lips, but forgot to blow.
Wines out of defence, got it to Fantasia. Collingwood re-emerge with it. Noble with the hand pass to Mason Cox. Long kick inside 50. Jonas spoils it down. Elliott in the right forward pocket, shoved off it by Burgoyne. Myercheck tries to charge his way through. Hand pass picked off by Burne-Jones of Port Adelaide. They work it out of defence as Jones with a hand pass to Fantasia. He slipped over, and Mason Cox to Collingwood.
He gives it back to Josh Dacos. Kicks inside 50, not quite. Chopped off by Pal Pepper. So Pal Pepper gets back to just stem the Collingwood flow. He'll kick around the edge of the centre square. Jones goes up and marks. Lands like a cat. Moves it on quickly. Out in front of Georgiades. Going back with him, Frampton. The ball bounces the way of Frampton. He can gather for the Pies and kick them back towards the wing where Noble is there.
Horn Francis just came on from the bench, corrals Noble, kicks around the wing, it's over the head of Elliott, it bounces in play. Elliott can't believe it, stays in play for a moment. Everyone thought the game was stopped as McStay picks it up. Urton turns to the umpire, he waves play on, everyone's confused. Hand pass to Nick Dacos, Pendlebury over his shoulder, back to Nick Dacos. This will be a great goal, bring the house down. The old and the new. The Rolls-Royce and maybe the soon-to-be star, they all combine. Cancel that. Nick Dacos with that finish. He is a star already. He joins brother Josh, who Nick Dacos kicks his first, and the Collingwood fans at the City End, they love that. And what a bizarre build-up as the big screen shows. Maybe the ball was out of play as McStay gathered.
It was because Jamie Elliott stopped and he didn't chase the ball. Then Ryan Burton's gone, well, I'm just going to stop too. But luckily, Collingwood players didn't. But
how good was Pendlebury's handball first?
How good's Pendlebury's handball? But seriously, you Collingwood supporters, you've been spoilt by this Dacos family for 40 years now. And the journey is only just starting because these two blokes are absolutely amazing. And as great as your old man was, goodness me, these two boys are impressive to watch.
Where have we got the old man? Third in the family. Long kick inside 50. No mark taken for the Pies down there. Aaliyah just hacks it off the deck towards the pocket. Hoskin Elliott going after it. Wines is there. Dersma able to get a clearing kick towards Rioli on the wing. Takes the mark and goes for Port. Trying to find something. Gives it off to Dixon. Kicks towards Marshall at half forward. Takes it on the bounce. Looks towards full forward. Jones is there. Big fly. Can't quite drag it down. Fantasia arrives. The Pies get back. Noble applies the tackle. The umpire will come in and ball it up. They recovered quickly there, the Pies, in their defensive work. They lead by 49. 19 and a half played in the second.
No excuse for dropping marks like that inside forward 50. It's not windy. There's no sun. Take that mark. You've got a shot for goal 35 metres out, dead in front.
From the ball up came the way of Georgiades. He's tackled and the umpire will do it once more. Murphy locks the footy to Georgiades' chest, just 35 metres out from Port Adelaide's goal. Steele side bottom, quick kick forward to DeGoey. Collingwood will clear the defensive 50 once more as Mitchell sends it wide and Hoskin Elliott takes the mark at left half back. Lauren Borden on the boundary.
Scott Lysett still having problems with that eye. He had to go down to the rooms with the doctor to get it cleaned out, and he's finally back on the bench sitting at the front. Travis Boak is warming up though, as Connor Rosie also having a few troubles with the head knock.
Long kick around the wing from Hoskin Elliott and the Twin Towers flying. Myercheck and McStay. Myercheck takes the mark. He's centre wing on the southern side and will poke a kick over the top to Pendlebury.
Connor Rosie's dropped two uncontested marks really, and you wonder whether that head knock has had any contribution to that.
Pendlebury comes inboard to Crisp. Crisp kicks into the middle of the ground and finds his skipper in Moore. Goes for a little gallop. Drives a low ball into the pocket in the direction of Hill. In front of him, Burn-Jones fists it away. This time it will go out. And we'll get a throw in, 60 out from the attacking goal for the Pies. At the city end of the MCG. 11-5-71 to 3-4-22. Collingwood by 49. They've kicked the last 10 goals of this game.
Toss back into play. Cameron in front position for Collingwood against Dixon. Spills the way of Ollie Wines at Port Adelaide. Kicks around the members' wing. Georgiades got a tough bounce. Frampton tries to knock it forward. Jones for Port Adelaide can't take it cleanly. Georgiades' toe poke is straight over the boundary line. Out on the fall, and Collingwood will take the free kick.
We mentioned contested football in that first quarter, and Collingwood were plus 20. They're plus 12 in this quarter, just smacking Port Adelaide around the contest.
Taylor Adams kicks to Mason Cox, the biggest man on the ground. He takes the mark, hand pass to Goey, to Nick Dacos. Look away, hand pass turns over. Horn Francis for Port Adelaide, kicks for Dersmer. He just takes in the mark, and as Hoskin Elliott closed late.
And they got no one to kick it to, because Port Adelaide are just jogging their way across the other side of the field. He's got to stop and wait and kick the ball long down the line.
So Burgoyne does just that, looking for a target. Off the hands of the pack, it spills out to Junior Rioli. Goes to Dersmer. Back to Rioli. Put Adelaide with it on the wing. Kicks infield to Dixon. Has to juggle it. Eventually claims the mark. At the fourth bite. Still inside the centre square here, Port. And they find something. He tries to chip it short to Farrell, who takes the mark. Right on the edge of 50. And he does have the leg from here. A beautiful left-footed kick.
Well, it's only their sixth inside 50 for this quarter. Collingwood had 15. So the ball just living in Collingwood's forward half.
So Kane Farrell. Boy, do they need one. He's a beautiful kick. They have to lay boot to ball from around about 55. Farrell comes in. And it goes through post height. Farrell finishes from range and gives Port Adelaide a much needed goal. They're 4-4-28. Collingwood 11-5-71. It's back to 43 points. Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke.
It's a nice leg.
It went through two-thirds of the way up the post from about 51.
He's one of the better kicks in the competition, Kane Farrell. They want the ball in his hands for that very reason. But just this quarter alone, it's you look at the stat sheet. It's just all Collingwood possessions, contested football, ground ball gets, tackling. Even 12 tackles to 7 in this quarter. Clearances 8-4, inside 50s 15-6. Total domination at the moment for the Pies.
Breaks the string of 9 consecutive goals Collingwood's way as Darcy Cameron gets the clearance. Beautiful chip kick to Taylor Adams, who streamed forward from the centre square. He marks right on 50. Looks to go as far as he can. Gets onto it, and away it goes. Straight through the middle. Taylor Adams with his second, and Collingwood just pick up where they left off. 9 goals on the trot. Kane Farrell at one end, and Taylor Adams just starts the run again. Collingwood back out by 49 points. 12-5-77 to Port Adelaide 4-4-28. Lauren Borton on the boundary.
Despite a few concerns, Connor Rosie's back on the field. 4 doctors looked at the vision and they seem happy enough to let him back on the field, so he's gone back on now.
Well, that one's on Ollie Wines. You look at that centre break, and Collingwood win the ball. Taylor Adams then runs forward. Wines just simply didn't want to go with him. It's just that higher work rate from Taylor Adams there to get into free space, and a terrific finish.
It's atrocious centre bounce work all round.
Yeah.
I think his Butters come flying in, fell over. Cameron should not have that much time to hit his target going forward.
Goey gets a handball out to Nick Dacos. Off to brother Josh. Kicks towards half forward for the Pies. Bouncing ball close to the boundary line. Elliott slaps it into the path of Hill. Away he goes. He'll set it up towards full forward. Myercheck, virtually unopposed. He runs at the footy and marks on his chest. 15 out, plumb in front.
3 Port Adelaide defenders are all looking at each other.
Yep, hands on hips, staring at each other.
Or wasn't my opponent? Well, it's got to be one of your opponent. But again, kick is short, and the Collingwood forward is in front. Port Adelaide's defenders want to drop off again.
Port Adelaide broke the streak, but normal transmission has resumed. Collingwood kick another, and 2 in a couple of minutes. Myercheck has his second. 13-5, 83. They lead Port Adelaide 4-4, 28. A game high 55 points with 2 minutes to play before halftime.
Centre bounce clearances are 6-1 to Collingwood this quarter, and around the ground they're dominating as well, but they're doing it just so easily. It's not just a throw on the boot, get the ball forward. They're getting clean possession out of there and giving their forwards the first opportunity every time. And I just want to see Port Adelaide go, right, let's just man up. Let's get one player each, and if we don't win the clearance, then there's a secondary bounce and we go from there.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sports after Collingwood kicked 7 goals to 3 in the opening quarter, 6 goals to 1 in the second. Lycett wins down the tap for Port Adelaide. Wines can't sock it off the deck. Powell Pepper tries to feed it back to Butters. He was taken high, and a Port Adelaide free kick.
It was better. They made a contest. They all stood one player and said, right, I'm going to beat my opponent. That's what they need to do for the rest of this quarter.
32-19, the contested possessions Collingwood's way as Butters sends it out towards half forward. Bergman takes the mark for Port Adelaide. So 2 kicks out from goal at the punt road end. Gives it everything he's got. Sends it long towards the goal line. Setting himself. Marshall takes the mark in front of the left goal post. And that was an impressive clunk. Frampton lost his footing, and in the end he had the mismatch on Hoskin Elliott.
Win the centre bounce, get the ball going your way, get the ball into a really good scoring position.
Non-negotiable for Todd Marshall as he steps out, snaps on the right boot and puts through Port Adelaide's second goal of the quarter. Pulls the margin back to 49 points Collingwood's way. 13-5, 83 Collingwood to Port Adelaide 5-4, 34. 28 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
Port Adelaide, people are probably thinking, okay, geez, we're getting run over here. This is looking really, really ugly. How do we stem the flow? How do we turn this around? Well, you've got to actually just start playing on somebody. You can actually, the old-fashioned, we're going to man up and I'm going to beat my opponent. I'm going to wrestle the ascendancy back, contest by contest, and as we get a little bit more ascendancy, well, then I can start having a bit more licence as well. Not what they were doing is giving their player more licence, hoping to get those free ones. You've got to get closer, rely on beating your one-on-one opponent.
From the restart, Cameron wins the tap down towards Adams, spills out towards Pendlebury. Here's Nick Dacos, soccering it forward. De Goey can't quite mark it half forward. Plays for a high free kick, and he's pinned holding the ball.
He's unlucky.
Yeah.
It was high.
So Houston will get the free kick. We'll have it for Port at centre-half back. Houston will look lateral. Kicks out towards Burne-Jones. Burne-Jones will kick it round the boundary line and spot up Bergman, who now goes for a little run. Runs his measure. Kicks long towards half forward for Port. Dixon launching at the footy. Doesn't quite drag it down. Going in crisp. Dixon following up at ground level. And a ball up in shoes. So 55 metres out from Port's goal. Collingwood leading by 49 on the stroke of half-time.
Approaching half-time, can Port pinch one late? Lycett wins down the tap. Gathered by Josh Dacos. Hand pass out towards the boundary. Southern side. Hand pass inboard from Bergman. Looking for Butters. Taylor Adams picks it off. Hand pass to Josh Dacos. And now to Hill on half-back. To Crisp. Almost run down by Rosie. Pendlebury for Collingwood. Hand pass to a stationary Quaynor. Got it away to Hill. Collingwood were just about to head inside 50 once more. As the siren it sounds for half-time here at the MCG. A scintillating quarter of footy, a scintillating half a footy really from Collingwood. 13-5, 53 to Port Adelaide, 5-4, 34. The Magpies booting 6 goals to 2 in that second quarter, having led by 23 points at quarter time. They lead by 49 at the main break, including 9 consecutive goals from midway through the first quarter to midway through the second. For the Magpies, couple of goals to Taylor Adams. Brody Myercheck also with a couple individuals to De Goey, Elliott, McStay, Sidebottom, McCreary, Nick Dacos and Mason Cox. Meanwhile, for Port Adelaide, their goals, 2 to Dixon, individuals to Fantasia and Farrell. Throwing Marshall, the other goal scorer as well. Collingwood by 49 points at the main break. The thoughts of Adam Romanascus and Nathan Burke.
Oh, jeez, it's almost the perfect half of football by the Pies. They've completely dominated, and you don't like to just make your judgment purely on stats, but they're hard to deny in this first half by Collingwood. Contested possession 81 to 47. Ground ball gets 49 to 32. Collingwood are out tackling. They've had nearly 40 more possessions than Port Adelaide. 35 tackles to Collingwood, 23 to Port Adelaide. Clearances 23 to 14. Then inside 50s 34 to 19. So 34 entries for 18 scoring shots in that first half. Now, Berkey's mentioned it a few times. I've mentioned it a few times. The way Port Adelaide have been defending, their last line of defence has been horrible. They've started from behind. You know, Aliir, two free kicks for holding. Brody Mychek taking uncontested marks when there's 20 odd players inside forward 50. So in a sense, Port Adelaide have been their own worst enemies. Yes, Collingwood have played really well. What it does show is just how fit this Collingwood team are. They are just relentless runners. You know, the Dacos brothers, John Noble, Crisp, Hoskin Elliott. You know, Bobby Hill got himself right up to the wing on occasions. Quaynor off half-back. They're just relentless with their run and want to take the ball forward. They play unselfish football. You know, a couple of Pendlebury's little handballs. The one to get Nick Dacos a goal in that second quarter was just absolutely terrific. I think Port Adelaide need to strip it right back in this second half. I really think they need to have their man as their starting point and then work from there. Because what they're doing is just allowing Collingwood to really do it. They want Sidebottom 17 possessions off a wing, you know, a goal, and he set up 2 more himself. They're not giving the due respect to their direct opponent, the Port Adelaide players.
I think Port Adelaide were ruined last week. They had 127 more uncontested possessions than the Lions, which allowed them to take 25 marks inside 50. So 127 more uncontested. I think they thought they were going to come here today and play exactly the same game plan as what happened last week. We'll just run around, get a heap of the footy and be able to do whatever we want with it. You can't do that against Collingwood. And they've tried, and that's got them 8 goals down at half-time. So hopefully at half-time, I'm pretty sure Kenny Hinkley was saying, hey guys, forget about that uncontested possession. I don't give a rat's clacker about uncontested possessions. It's 47 to 81 that I need to correct, and that is that contested possession. The clearances, centre clearances 10 to 5 in favour of Collingwood, and they're just doing it far too easily. So for me, it's about getting your hands dirty, understanding who are dangerous. 17 possessions to Sidebottom, yet he's had 80% efficiency. So you go to him. You don't let him just trot inside 50. Nick Dacos has had 17, but he's going at 91%. And these guys are excellent users of the footy. So that means you're not even putting pressure on them when they've had that many possessions. So for me, I'm saying if I was the coach, I'd be saying at the start, I'm going to see who you are lining up against, and you better knock off that opponent. Directly knock off that opponent, and once we do that, we get the ascendancy back. We go long periods without them scoring goals, see what they do. They might change the way that they're playing. We can work our way back into this game. I want to win this quarter by 2-3 goals only, and then let's see what happens in that last quarter. But certainly, by all means, I want to see which play is prepared to sacrifice the uncontested possessions for the contested possessions and beating their opponent.
Nathan Burke and Adam Romanascus with their thoughts to half-time. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. We'll get through some of your SMSs in a moment. Also, it's time 0437 774 774. Your correspondence always welcome with us on Grandstand AFL. And still to come for our South Australian listeners, Adelaide and Richmond from the Adelaide Oval. You won't miss any of the lead-up with Aaron Bryans and the team there from the Adelaide Oval. Collingwood by 49 points at halftime over Port Adelaide. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Leaders of both major political parties have cast their votes in today's New South Wales election. Simran Gill with the details.
Premier Dominic Perrottet was with his wife Helen when he casted his vote at Beecroft in Sydney's northwest this morning. It's a safe Liberal seat, but he was conscious of the task ahead for the coalition across the state.
It's a real honour to serve the people of New South Wales, but as I said, there's a lot at stake here in this election and we'll be working hard all day.
Labor leader Chris Minns holds his South Sydney seat of Cogra by just 0.1%. He voted with his wife Anna and is hopeful of a good swing to Labor.
Looking forward to their verdict and the campaign being over.
Polling closes at 6 p.m.
Meantime, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has appeared at West Ryde Public School throwing his support behind state Labor candidate for Ryde, Lyndall Howison. The Prime Minister says New South Wales needs a change of government because the current one is in a shambles. A former New South Wales Labor Minister will attempt a political comeback in the seat of Monero today. Patrick Bell reports.
Steve Wan was the member for Monero from 2003 until his defeat in Labor's 2011 wipeout. He was called upon to run for the seat again after the withdrawal of Labor's initial candidate, former Canberra Raiders star Terry Campese. Monero has been won by the party which formed government at 27 of the last 30 elections, and Labor leader Chris Minns has made a final push, visiting Queanbeyan during the last week of the campaign. Incumbent Nationals MP Nicole Overall holds the seat on a margin of about 5% after last year's by-election.
Ukraine's military commander-in-chief says defending forces are solidifying their position against Russian attempts to take the frontline city of Bakhmut in the country's east. He says the situation there is stabilizing for Ukrainian defenders. Earlier this month, Western officials estimated between 20 and 30,000 Russian troops had been killed or injured in the town since mid-last year, and Ukraine says Russian troops there are exhausted. Despite this, military analysts believe Bakhmut has little strategic value, with the city's importance now symbolic. An asteroid large enough to destroy a city is expected to pass between the orbits of the Earth and the Moon today. The object, discovered by scientists just a month ago, will pass within 500,000 kilometres of the Moon before flying harmlessly by Earth hours later. It's rare for such a large asteroid, estimated between 40 and 90 metres in diameter, to come so close to the Earth. US President Joe Biden has set out a vision of North American unity and cooperation in an address to the Canadian Parliament. The two countries have agreed to a deal to curb illegal migration by turning back undocumented asylum seekers who try to cross the US-Canadian border. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the two nations will stand together to face the multiple threats on the horizon.
Security policy is climate policy, is economic policy. With growing competition, including from an increasingly assertive China, there's no doubt why it matters that we turn to each other now to build up a North American market.
Pro-Iranian forces in Syria are warning of retaliation in the wake of US airstrikes on their positions. The strikes follow a drone attack on a base in northeastern Syria that left one US contractor dead and 6 Americans wounded. In a statement, the Iranian Advisory Committee in Syria says it has a long arm to respond to the airstrikes. US President Joe Biden says the United States will respond forcefully to protect its personnel. Israel's Attorney General is warning the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that he's violated the Supreme Court's conflict of interest ruling that's allowed him to take office while still on trial on corruption charges. The BBC's Sebastian Usher reports.
In a harshly worded letter sent to Mr. Netanyahu this morning, the Israeli Attorney General Gali Bahrav Miara said that the legal situation was clear and he must refrain from involvement in any initiatives to change the judiciary. This is the issue that has convulsed the country for 3 months. After another day of mass protest against the proposal on Thursday and amid rumours of a possible split within his cabinet, Mr. Netanyahu went on television in a bid to reassure Israelis that he was doing everything possible to reach a solution acceptable to all sides. The Attorney General has now escalated her showdown with the Prime Minister, saying that his statement was illegal.
And a man's been flown to hospital after a paragliding accident on Queensland's Sunshine Coast. It happened at Mount Biwa in the Glasshouse Mountains. You're now up to date with the very latest from ABC News.
ABC Listen.
Our minds are powerful and complex. Join Sana Kadar to explore everything mental about the mind, the brain, and our behaviour.
As you scale this technique up, you can memorise all kinds of things.
From negotiating to addiction to AI. The history of brainwashing, emotional intelligence, rudeness, and humour.
How does that feel?
All in the Mind with Sana Kadar. Podcast available now on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Fisted away by Jonas for Port, going after it. Elliott in the pocket, zigging, zagging, back to side bottom. He snaps back towards DeGoey, who marks. DeGoey trots in and hammers it through the middle. Darrell will bite off the kick into the middle of the ground. It spots up Rosie. No, he drops it. And that might allow the Pies in. Little Topo from side bottom to Crisp, to Josh Dacos. Running shot from 50. And for all of the love for his brother, he keeps saying, don't forget about me.
Elliott bounces in play. Elliott can't believe it. Stays in play for a moment. Everyone thought the game was stopped. As McStay picks it up, turns to the umpire. He waves play on. Everyone's confused. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Pendlebury over his shoulder. Back to Nick Dacos. This will be a great goal. Bring the house down. Darcy Cameron gets the clearance. Beautiful chip kick to Taylor Adams, who streamed forward from the centre square. He marks right on 50. Looks to go as far as he can. Gets onto it. And away it goes. Straight through the middle.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Plenty of highlights to enjoy if you're a Collingwood fan. If you're a Port Adelaide fan, there's a bit of work to be done. The Magpies by 49 points at the main break. 13-5-83 to Port Adelaide 5-4-34. Couple of goals to Josh Dacos and to Brodie Mychek for the Magpies. Meanwhile, Charlie Dixon is the only multiple goal scorer for Port Adelaide. They're 5-4-34 to Collingwood 13-8-83. Matt Clich and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke are your experts on ABC Sport. Question coming through on the SMS 0437 774 774. Hi team, enjoying the call. Is Ben a Melburnian now? He and Corbin are spending too much time together, hence the hyphen player remark. Had to do a double take with the ball artistry remark, but a good analogy nonetheless. That's from Stan in Victoria.
Oh, thank you, Stan.
So you are a fully fledged Victorian now?
Fully fledged. I'm barracking for the Vics in the Shield fight. No, I'm not. I'm still cheering for WA, but nearly.
A few Western Australian fans might have jumped out of their chairs. I'm not for a moment suggesting that Collingwood isn't playing a superior game, but for goodness sake, could you try and hide your bias? So none of us are cheering for any of the teams. Collingwood have been electric to watch. Port Adelaide haven't got enough of the footy. Just in that Shield.
It's pretty hard to...
There's no bias.
Yeah.
Victoria all out for 195. Western Australian response 6 for 224. So WA leading by 60 runs with 4 wickets remaining. Ashton Turner on 102 and Joel Paris on 23. Fran is a happy Collingwood supporter. Got to stick with your team through the ups and downs. I'm happy to see that the Pie supporters are seeing a good bounce back. Decent coach and great support network behind him. Enjoying them so much, enjoying the call. Also from Ray in Adelaide saying, don't confuse the bump with a charge. The players that were suspended last week deserve every second of the suspension for charging. 8-year-olds Archie and Max being great helpers cleaning up the garage with Archie's dad. They're loving the call and the way the Pies are playing. Go Pies. Also a question around the amount of free kicks that have been paid. I don't think there was a great discrepancy. Collingwood 18 to Port Adelaide's 12. Here's the free kick count. And I'll bring you a couple. Oh, Grant in Hobart enjoying the call while returning home from watching the Maydena. Is that the mountain biking, Grant? First day of competition in Tasmania. It was unreal. Thanks, Grant, for always keeping in touch.
Can I apologise to the person who I tried to explain the difference between deliberate...
That was Gareth,
and not enough intent. Gareth, I think I did a really bad job of that, but... the reason is that I don't really know the difference between the two. I suppose insufficient intent. The umpire is going to assess the level of intent within your brain of keeping the ball inside the play, as opposed to the level of intent inside your brain of wanting the ball to go out of bounds. And depending on which part of the field you are executing, the level, the skill will determine what intent you have in your brain.
You sat on the match review panel, Berkey. I would have thought the simple explanation is you have to try and keep the ball in rather than now be punished for trying to deliberately knock the ball out.
That's a good explanation. It's just whether we like it.
And that's a different question. But
what's significant intent and what's a skill error?
Well, that's where the umpires have to try and determine, which makes it an impossible job.
I mean, the instance that was in question, wasn't it, was there was a ball bobbling around at halfback for the Pies, and Steele Sidebottom threw a boot at it to hack it out of the area. And it could go sort of anywhere 45-degree one way or the other way, and it goes towards the boundary and sort of tumbles out, and the umpire comes charging in like he's bowling a 10-pin bowling ball and says deliberate. And you sort of say, well, he doesn't know where that's going, really.
Well, I think there's a question on there about how long till we bring in the last touch rule.
Yeah.
Now, we play last touch rule in AFLW, and it can be really frustrating, let me tell you about it. So, being involved in it, I know it takes away a lot of that discretion. It just is. So a player can do something like really, really well, can win the ball, fight against two players on the half-back line, win the footy, get the ball forward, and it's a fantastic piece of play. The ball takes a right-angle bounce to the left, dribbles over the line, and the other team get the ball.
Yeah.
It's just unfair. There's a lot of unfair things like that it just don't quite, in my mind, add up to the way the game should be played.
They also have last touch, I think, in the Sample, which gets underway next week. I think the Power reserves and the Crows reserves are having a practice game tomorrow. More love from you, for you, Benny, from Rob. Loving your work, Ben. Have so since the days of Sport FM, keeping me entertained during the drive from Geraldton to Perth. So early hours of the morning in Perth doing the commute. And we're definitely loving having Benny here in Melbourne. So keep your messages coming through, 0437 774 774. There was one coming through as well, just around the fact that the game is now, of course, on a Saturday on pay TV. So if you don't have access to that, the ABC Listen app is the best way to keep across all the matches on a Saturday afternoon. If the game you're looking for is not there is an AFL Extra button, so keep an eye out for that in instances like tonight, where we have the Western Bulldogs and St Kilda from Docklands and Fremantle and North Melbourne from Perth Stadium. The two teams have made their way back out onto the MCG. There's a lot of work to be done for Port Adelaide. They trail by 49 points. Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke. I'd imagine the feedback from Ken Hinkley would have been pretty direct at the main break.
I think every Port Adelaide player would be well aware of what's expected of them in the second half.
He, by all reports, gave them a fair spray last week at halftime, and they came out and they certainly reacted. A couple of the players said it was one of the better ones that he's given, so hopefully he's got two in him, because he needed one.
Yeah, and you don't have many in you as a coach for the year.
You can't do it every single week,
because they lose effect in the end. But I think what would have frustrated Ken the most in that first half was certainly the contest. Just beaten at the source comprehensively, where last week they were so good in that area against Brisbane. So it's almost the reverse of what happened sort of last week with Brisbane. They played so poorly and then played so well. Port Adelaide played so well last week and are now have played so poorly in that first half. So you sort of look for positional changes, but it doesn't look like it.
And I think we're going to be in for a season of this. I think how teams present themselves and the mindset that they can turn up each week in will determine their overall performance. I think there's going to be a lot of ups and downs throughout this season, and that's why I'm sort of liking Collingwood, because what we saw last year is they were able to turn up with the same mindset pretty much week in, week out, and that's going to stand them in really good stead.
Travis Boak still has the warm-up shirt on, so he's the sub not required yet, and Reef McInnes for the Magpies. Collingwood by 49 points into the second half. We go with Ben Cameron.
Larson and Cameron. Cameron wins the tap down. Mitchell trying to get after the footy. He can't quite get to it first. Getting up from the bottom of the pack is Butters for Port Adelaide, and we'll get a secondary ball up in the middle. Cameron and Lycett again. Cameron hooks it down. Butters once more tracking after it. De Goey picks it up. Drew hacks it out of midair towards half forward. Quaynor takes the mark. He has it for the Pies at centre half back. Comes laterally towards Josh Dacos. Coming late, Dersma able to swat it out of his hands. Get some help from brother Nick. Dacos goes and wins it back, Josh, and then a handball to Noble and out of play. A throw in on the wing. So as we were at the half through the opening 45 seconds, 13-5-83, plays 5-4-34, Collingwood lead.
Side bottom with 17, Nick Dacos with 17, Josh with 16, Pendlebury with 14, Willem Drew leads the way for Port Adelaide with 12. Make that 13 as he gets a kick inside 50, bouncing it over in. Dixon to Fantasia, he snaps on the right boot and misses to the right-hand side. Just squeezes in for a minor score in the end. Collingwood by 48 points.
Oh, the kick-in's a little dicey for Moore, chopped off by Junior Rioli. He snaps it back towards goal. Moore will be there. He'll mark alongside the defensive goal square for the Pies. So Moore between the goal and behind posts. Kicks really short to Frampton. So Frampton in the right back pocket. He'll kick around towards the southern wing. Looking for McStay, going up, able to take the mark. Bergman for Port.
He's been okay for them today. He's got his hands on the footy a fair bit.
Bergman sends it back into the pocket. A little bit of a floater. Marshall can't quite clinch it. There to mop up again is Nick Dacos. Handball towards Maynard. Under pressure. Handball to Josh Dacos. Draws a man, Dersma. And then turns it straight over. And Marshall bobs up and marks. 35 metres out from goal. A slight angle.
50.
There's a bit of afters as well.
Reverse it or?
Looks like it is going to be 50.
Okay, it is 50.
So Marshall is marched to the goal square. He kicked their last goal before half-time and kicks the first after half-time. The start Port Adelaide desperately needed. They cut it back to 42 points the deficit. Collingwood 13-5-83. Port Adelaide 6-5-41 before Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke. Let's go downstairs to Lauren Borden on the boundary.
They probably need this man as well, Travis Boak. He's been substituted now, so he's ready to come on. It'll be Jace Burgoyne going off for him. So we'll watch to see how Boak goes with a half a footy to come.
He had a swing there, Josh Dacos.
Yeah.
So Dersman's got into him after that skill error by Josh Dacos. And he's got up and had a decent old swing at Dersma.
Yeah, it was Nick Dacos who was tackled, so Josh came in to...
No, it was Josh Dacos that was tackled.
That was tackled, was it? Yeah, okay.
He's taken a swing, so wonder if there's another angle of that. I'll be interested to see if he connected.
Lycett got up high, one down the tap. Wines was onto it. Big tackle from Darcy Cameron. Swings him and dumps him to the turf. Slightly Collingwood's way from the centre circles, between the circles and half forward. Lycett tries to knock it down to Wines. Can't clear the congestion with his kick. Onto it, side bottom. He's locked up.
Far greater intent so far. It's only a really small sample so far this quarter, but far better intent from Port Adelaide. At the stoppages, they're standing next to their opponents. They're just prepared to play one-on-one.
Lycett wins down the tap once more. Ollie Wines can't take a disposal. Chris was stripped of it. Good tackle from Willem Drew. One of Port Adelaide's hard men with the bigger bodies. He wins the free kick.
Kicks out towards the wing. Finds Palpepper. Wheels and goes quickly. Kicks towards Fantasia, who marks. He goes. Looks inside 50. Dixon slips over, recovers and marks. 45 out, slightly right of centre. He'll go back and kick for the sticks.
And that's what they needed. Willem Drew in there, lay a really big tackle, move the ball quickly. Fantasia, really good play on as well. He looked up and Dixon was running into a hole. You caught it right, Ben. He fell over but managed to recover just in time. Probably cost himself 5 metres further out on the kick, but still should make the distance.
In comes Dixon from right on the arc. Sends it on its journey and through the middle. He's got 3. And Port Adelaide have started this second half like a completely different side. It's back to 36 points. Collingwood 13-5-83. Port Adelaide 7-5-47. Almost 5 minutes travelled in this third term.
But you look at the difference. Fantasia takes the mark wide near the boundary on Port Adelaide's half-forward flank. But then he's prepared to play on. Roll the ball forward. Don't let Collingwood's defenders set. Find the hole. Dixon leads into the hole. Easy chest mark. Kicks a goal.
We've seen Billy Frampton as Dixon's opponent. So Dixon's kicked 3 now, and all of them have been a lead up at the football. Frampton tends to stay back. We just missed another replay of Dacos here. I think Dersman might have over-accentuated the hit. It was a bit of a swing, but not much in it.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Lysette one down the tap. Boak into the action. Can't get a disposal away. Mitchell knocks it forward. Looking for DeGoey. Willem Drew over the top of him. And the umpire will ball it up just between the wing and half forward on the members' side for Collingwood. Port Adelaide managed just the 2 goals in that second quarter to Collingwood 6. They've got 2 inside 5 minutes in this third quarter. Mitchell tries to get the clearance. He was taken over the shoulder, trying to knock it out. In fact, it's Taylor Adams who takes the free kick. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Feeds it to Maynard. Between wing and half forward. Pearson kick inside 50. Beautiful. And charging out Dan McStay. Didn't have to break stride as he marks on his chest.
Just those indiscriminate over-the-shoulder free kicks. They're just so many of them these days, and so far we've seen in the first 2 rounds of football, just being a little bit lazy, touching a player on the shoulder. The umpires pay them every single time, and it just freed up the game for Collingwood, and it's just such a easy mistake.
From right on 50 for McStay, it's right at the right goalpost. It won't have the journey, and Myercheck and Jonas spoil it through for a minor score. Collingwood lead by 37 points, 7 minutes gone, third term.
So Burton with the kick in, runs to the pocket, drives it long to the wing. Moore and Dixon. Moore outpoints him. He's paid the mark. Right on the edge of the logo. Sweeps the hair out of his face. Held in place by that headband. Now Moore runs around, kicks long towards full forward. Looking for McStay again, launches from 3 deep. Can't quite drag in the mark. Boak onto the footy, he's dragged down. And a ball up 30 metres out from the attacking goal here for the Pies. They lead by 37 points. Port Adelaide with the first 2 goals of the second half.
Mitchell to Myercheck, snaps on goal. He was tackled just as he got his kick away. And it's out of bounds on the full. A good lunging effort from Connor Rosie, and Port Adelaide will take the free kick up against the left behind post. Ryan Burton has it. Collingwood by 37 points. Burton kicks up towards half-back. Georgiades is in the pack, winds as well. It spills the way of Maynard for Collingwood. Kicks inside 50. Awkward bouncing ball for Jonas. Couldn't gather. Elliott underneath it. Tackle by Burton. Ooh. Driving tackle. And he's going to be penalised as Elliott had his arm pinned. And just trying to be a bit overzealous with the tackle. It was the slinging nature that's been penalised. And while Ryan Burton may be a little bit unlucky, you don't want to see a player injured in a tackle like that.
Yeah, I think the angle of the tackle just tipped him up past that horizontal. And once you do that, it's a free kick. So I'm happy with that free kick.
In a dumping nature, and Jamie Elliott will line up in the right forward pocket. About 35 metres out for a chance to try and kick his second.
Yeah, he just had that arm pinned. Yeah, Burton's trying to take him to ground, but it's just dangerous.
Yeah, you've got to pull them down rather than drive.
Drop your weight on them.
A slower poach from Jamie Elliott in the right forward pocket. Fires on goal and puts through Collingwood's first of the second half. After Port Adelaide have put a couple on in quick succession. Jamie Elliott with his second, who extended out to a 43-point margin. 14-6-90 to Port Adelaide, 7-5-47. 9 minutes gone, third term on ABC Sport.
Yep, failed the ooh test, that one. When I see a tackle, and if I automatically go ooh, then it's pretty much a free kick, and that's what we saw then. Bad luck there for Port Adelaide, because they've came out in this second half and playing far better football, far more contested football, tougher football, but to give away a free kick and allow a goal is probably not what they wanted, but they're winning the quarter so far, and that's what they need to keep doing.
They've got to continue to create energy, Port Adelaide, in this game. Now, that's tricky. A lot of Collingwood supporters here, but as a group, you've got to create your own energy sometimes.
From the restart, Lysett palms it down to Horne-Francis. A little don't argue. To Farrell, cruising by. Beautiful delivery onto the chest of Wines. He marks 49 metres out, wants to give it off to Rosie, runs inside 50 and misses right. A poor finish from the classy young player. But behind, back to 42 points, the Collingwood lead. 10 and a half minutes travelled in the third.
It would have been good for them to answer back really quickly.
Darcy Moore brings Collingwood back into play. They've turned it over though. A long kick out of defence is picked off by Charlie Dixon. Out to the left. Still 55 metres out. Spots Horn Francis all on his own. He marks right at the top of the 50. Do you reckon he's got the distance from here?
Well done by Dan McStay too, because he knows Farrell is the man who can kick that distance, but he's watching him like a hawk, not letting him get a handball receive. Smart play.
Kicked 1-1 last week. Hand pass around the back to Burton, so clearly didn't think he had it. Right to the goal line, set himself Georgiades. Couldn't take the mark. Moore tackled. Hand pass to Quaynor around the boundary line, taken over by Powell Pepper. A throw in the left forward pocket for Port Adelaide at the city end. It's Collingwood by 42 points. 12 minutes gone, third term.
So boundary throw in. Inside the attacking 50 here for Port. Dixon doing the ruck work. Tries to work his way to the front. Cameron goes again at ground level. Lots of players pile on quickly. And we'll try again. Ball up. Dixon and Cameron. Neither with the touch on it. Dixon trying to grab it quickly. Mitchell goes in. There's a whistle on the play, a free kick. It'll go the way of Mitchell. So Mitchell to have it in the right back pocket for the Pies. He kicks laterally to Noble, misses him. It'll bounce and tumble out. A little skill error there from Tom Mitchell. And a throw in the right forward pocket here for Port. Collingwood leading by 42 points, 12 minutes and change into this third term.
Dixon works his way to the front from the throw-in, taps it to the front against Cameron. Josh Dacos onto it. Hand pass over his head looking for Pendlebury, but it goes out in front of he and Fantasia. So,
has Boak been sub?
Yeah, so Boak's been in for Jace Burgoyne. Reef McGuinness still hasn't been activated for Collingwood. Thrown back in, Dixon and Cameron once more. Cameron works him underneath it, gets a kick out of defence, up to Myercheck, who dropped the chest mark against Lycett, dragged it in. Now the footy trickles out behind him. Boak hard against the boundary. He's tackled across by McCreary and a boundary throw in.
You want Dixon to do better than that. You're getting repeat ball-ups inside 50 at a stoppage. He allows his opponent to grab the footy and kick the ball 45 metres out of their goals. It's just too soft for a big man.
Umpire spins it back in. Cameron palms it down. Straight to Boak, though. There's a free kick. A little push out. It'll go to Pendlebury. So Pendlebury to have it just backward of the wing. Northern side of the ground. We'll just set it up towards Mason Cox. There's a couple for company. Spoiling it down is Houston. Another whistle. And a free kick. It's going to come back. It'll go the way of Cox. Oh. So Mason Cox to have it.
Got no idea what that was for. They're paying holding to Mason Cox.
Kicks laterally to Noble. He's got it 2 kicks from goal.
He got a knee in the back of the ribs, Cox, and he's in a bit of a bad way.
So Noble at left half forward, into the pocket. Myercheck comes out on the lead. Takes the mark in front of Dan Houston, who sort of looks around at his fellow defenders and questions where was the support. Some of the delivery inside 50 for Collingwood has been superb.
It has been, but Dan Houston, you say, right, there's a big hole in front of Myercheck. Do I stand behind him or do I stand in front of him? The ball's not going to go over my head, so I take the dangerous space. Don't let him lead into a hole.
6th year in the black and white, picked up from the VFL, 4-time leading goal scorer. For his third, Brodie Myercheck, beautiful off the boot and straight through the middle. The second goal for the Magpies in this third quarter, 2 goals apiece. And after 14 minutes of the third term, the Pies are back out by 48 points. 15-6, 96 to Port Adelaide, 7-6, 48. Brodie Myercheck with his third.
This is where we need, when you watch the NFL football, after each play, they draw the lines. Look at this play here, and look where he ran there, and look where he ran there. And we watch Dan Houston, we draw a big hole in front of Brodie Myercheck, and we'd have Dan Houston standing behind him. allowing him to run forward into the hole. The only way Houston is going to figure in this play if it's a terrible kick.
Yeah.
Sits on Mychick's head, he can jump up and punch it. He runs out, takes a test mark, turns around and kicks a goal. It's just terrible defending.
So Port kick the first 2 goals of the second half. Collingwood respond with the next 2. Cox wins the tap down, but onto it, Boak for Port. Drives them inside, attacking 50. Frampton going back, can't quite mark it. Pepper onto it. Handball misses Butters. Butters goes in again. Handball back to Boak. Tries to feed a handball to Marshall. Off a step, snaps on goal, and misses. Away to the right. 47 points, Collingwood's lead. Quarter-hour mark of the third term.
Darcy Moore with the long kick-in duties, sends it towards Myercheck. Jones and Dixon. Dixon in from the side, punches it down for Port Adelaide. Mitchell had to wait underneath it, tackled by Rosie. Spills to Nick Dacos. Going in hard down low was Butters. Couldn't emerge with the footy as his kick trying to clear the congestion. Over the top now, Pepper. Mitchell drags him down. And the umpire will ball it up 45 metres out from Port Adelaide's goal.
Pepper spent a lot of time in the forward line in this game. He's had 13 possessions. I'd like to get him up around the middle a little bit more, just for very short spells. We'll put a bit of grunt in the middle.
Cox down to side bottom, hand pass to Mitchell. They haven't cleared the congestion. Hand pass from Boat was picked off by Frampton. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Big ball to be won for Port Adelaide. Burne-Jones looks laterally and finds Dersma. Still 60 out, maybe 55 from home.
They've maintained possession, but it's allowed Collingwood to all get back inside 50. That ball should have been on top of the goal square.
Dersma goes there now, looking for a marker. Moore's there, puts his fist through it. Out of play it goes, eventually. Nearly didn't.
So Burne-Jones picks up the footy directly in the middle of the ground, 55 out. He kicks it sideways to somebody else, 55 out, and just allows all the Collingwood players to get back. If Burne-Jones kicks it forward, at least it's one-on-one inside 50.
Marshall takes it out of the ruck, tries to give it to Junior Rioli, a little too slick. Mitchell picks it up for the Pies, kicks towards the wing. McStay juggles it. He completes the mark in front of the southern stand.
Wanted to try and get the hand pass off to Taylor Adams, so Dixon was trying to block the space. Now has to chip it wider still, and Quaynor takes the mark. From McStay on the southern wing of the MCG. Floodlights have been turned on, but the natural light doing the job for the moment. Kick looking for Tom Mitchell is picked off by Bergman. Sends Port Adelaide to half forward. Marshall had to wait a long time. Cox cannon into his back, no whistle. Ball spills clear. Travis Boak comes charging in. Crisp sockets it off the ground. Dixon runs onto it for Port Adelaide. Spear and kick to a one-on-one. Pepper and Darcy Moore. Moore got the better of the bounce. He read it best. Hand pass to Frampton. Kick over the head of Quaynor. Right back pocket for Collingwood. Feeds the hand pass wider still to Josh Dacos. He looks up the southern wing. Kicks looking for Hoskin Elliott. Racing back as Butters. Trying to knock it onto the advantage of Burne-Jones. He and Hoskin Elliott in a foot race. Hoskin Elliott lost his footing. Burne-Jones gets the hand pass back to Butters. Inboard to Dersma. He marks at the back edge of the centre square for Port Adelaide.
Dersma kicks across that back edge of the centre square, spots up Houston. Houston looking for a leading Georgiades. He gets it to him. Georgiades wants to play on. Kicks laterally to Jones. Port down this member's wing. Off to Rosie by hand, who kicks around the boundary and just finds Pepper. About 70 out from goal. Goes really short for Port. To Dersma again. Still 2 kicks from goal. Dersma looks inside a crowded 50. And he finds a target. Looking for a leading. Dixon nearly gets it to him. Doesn't quite take the mark. And the Pies are there at the fall of the ball. Nick Dacos cruising around his defensive 50 and kicking for Noble. A good kick finds him just in play.
Collingwood by 47 points. 19 minutes gone, third term. Matt Clinch, Ben Cameron, Lauren Borden, Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas with you for Saturday afternoon footy. Noble around the boundary line to right half back, and Josh Dacos takes the mark. Power of at least stemmed Collingwood's scoring intent in this third quarter. As Dacos kicks up to the wing, Aliir sets himself, drops an uncontested mark. Butters front and centre. Hand pass to Burne-Jones, feeds it to Bergman. He looks up towards half forward. Junior Rioli takes the mark just outside 50. Had Marshall on in the pocket, now goes for Rosie. Spots him uncontested. And he marks a couple of metres free of Nathan Murphy. Tough shot.
Yeah, it was a long build-up. There was mistakes by both teams, but...
Rosie a couple of steps out, opens up the angle. Beautiful finish. Curled it nicely from right to left. And Port Adelaide are trying to close that deficit once more. 3 goals to 2 in this third quarter. Collingwood's lead is still 41 points. 15-6-96 to Port Adelaide, 8-7-55. Connor Rosie with his first goal of the afternoon.
Yeah, it was slow, it was methodical by Port Adelaide, but it got the desired result in the end with Rosie kicking that goal. They just, if they can get another 2 or 3 this quarter, there's still plenty of time left in this quarter. It just might make for an interesting last quarter for Collingwood. Now, Collingwood still look the far better team, but Port Adelaide have been better this quarter. They started to clean up their contest work. They look much better with Travis Boak out on the ground.
Crooked bounce in the middle. It'll come back and we'll do it again. Three goals to 2. Put Adelaide's way in this third term. Umpire puts it aloft. Cameron takes it out of the ruck. Spirals a punt towards half forward. Big fly from Jones. Can't quite take the mark. Now getting involved is Horne-Francis. Coming through Pendlebury. Shovels it inside 50. Myercheck. Time to steady. Kicks on goal. Alia like the goalkeeper going back. He takes the mark in the defensive goal square. Kicks short to Dersma. Has it in the left back pocket. Dersma will go short to Houston, who will move it on to Horne-Francis again. Still in their D50 now, Port.
Wants to roll the dice through the middle of the ground. Finds Willem Drew. He turns and kicks inside 50. Beautiful delivery. And Rosie almost had the mark. I thought he had it long enough. Maynard spills it down. Hand pass over the top to Marshall. Right forward pocket. Maynard, great tackle. Charging in Fantasia. Got it to Pal Pepper. The fend off on Murphy. Eventually the numbers get back for Collingwood. And Todd Marshall's tackle was over the shoulder on Jack Crisp.
Love that.
Almost dragged him down by the back of the jumper.
Love that by Collingwood. Just continuing to close space, forcing Port Adelaide into Port disposal and error.
Was that it's a chop of the arms by Maynard on Rosie? Should be having a shot for goal from 45 metres out.
Jack Crisp long out of defence for Collingwood. Ollie Wines for Port Adelaide inside 50. Frampton flies in front and takes the mark in his first game for his new club.
Frampton kicks towards Crisp, kicks a little dicey, but eventually Noble's there to mop up. He'll kick long towards the wing, looking for Hoskin Elliott. Drags in a nice mark. Under a little bit of closing pressure there from Farrell. Hoskin Elliott chips it over the top. Noble runs on. Now thinks about feeding a handball forward for Josh Dacos. Goes inboard to Nick Dacos, who does give it to brother Josh. He'll try and centre it, looking for Cameron. Put Adelaide there. Off hands. Butters is able to gather. Goes for a little run. Now chips back dangerously towards centre half back. But finds Horne-Francis. Collingwood still by 41 points.
Into the middle of the ground. It's spoiled down by Murphy. Collingwood through to Goey. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. To Sidebottom. Kicks towards the top of the 50. Mason Cox. The tallest target on the ground.
Connor Rosie's having a bad run. They keep kicking the ball to him. It's slightly too high. Just gives the defender a chance to get there and smash him every time.
Still Sidebottom said, have a go at it. He chips it wider still, and Braden Maynard takes the mark. He's still right on 50 out to the left. So Collingwood soaking some time, and Maynard will have a long-range shot on goal. Wearing the new number 4, replacing Brodie Grundy. The defender starts his approach. Veers out to the left. Gives it everything he's got. It's left and it won't come back enough. A minor score. Collingwood by 42 points. 2-2 in this third quarter to Port Adelaide's 3-3, which is now 24 minutes through.
Burton with the kick in. Short up the middle to Houston, who goes short again to Horne-Francis. Still getting the jeers. Sends it out towards the wing, and the mark taken by Boak. Boak will come infield looking for Wines. Finds him. Feeds a handball forward to Marshall. Port down this members' wing. Butters. Handball forward for Boak. He'll kick long inside 50. Frampton's there in best position. And Frampton will take the intercept mark. Has it in the left back pocket for Collingwood, playing against one of his two former sides, both of the Adelaide teams.
Long out of defence. Lysett sets himself. Myercheck spoils it down. Maynard tries to knock it on. Houston tackled by McCreary. Somehow got rid of the footy. Boat with a hand pass forward. Collingwood have numbers. Crisp to Noble to Nick Dacos. All by hand. Kicks out to Josh Dacos. Right half back. Has Hoskin Elliott free on the southern wing. Running into space is Jordan Degoe. He puts it out in front of him. Drew tries to hold him up. Degoe at right half forward. Just takes a few moments now to look at the options inside 50.
First kick this quarter for Degoe. He hasn't had a huge influence on this game so far.
Puts it in the direction of McStay. Two Port Adelaide players spoil each other in Jonas and Jones staying down, and across the boundary line it goes. 45 metres out from Collingwood's goal. The Pies by 42 points, 26 minutes gone, third term.
Moving the ball from one end of the ground better. Port Adelaide is just what they do inside 50 that they need to clean up.
Lysett in front position, brings it down, but Cameron roves it for Collingwood. Gives it off to Josh Dacos, snaps to the hot spot. Myercheck, a lot of it, doesn't complete the mark. Jones for Port Adelaide, whacks it out of there. Bouncing ball to the wing. Marshall able to take the advantage, moves it on to Rosie. Has Dixon breaking inside 50. Junior Rioli too. He'll look towards Dixon or Rioli. Can't quite complete the mark. And Nick Dacos is back there again. Wins the footy, top of his defensive goal square, and kicks it short. Maynard marks in the back pocket.
Got to go to Dixon there. He's had Quaynor as his direct opponent.
Again, they got it from one end of the ground really well, but it's that kick inside 50. It's either missing the target or just a bad choice.
Maynard back to Nick Dacos and out of Darcy Moore, who bounds out of defence. Wanted a hand pass to Sidebottom at left half back. This hand pass is too wide for Bobby Hill, and it's across the boundary line. He might have just jammed a finger in the process, Bobby Hill, and jogs back into position. Collingwood by 42 points. Approaching three-quarter time. After this match, Adelaide and Richmond from the Adelaide Oval. We'll get a preview from Aaron Bryans. Thrown back in. Lysett on all fours for Port Adelaide. Got it to Butters. Hand pass towards 50. Boat after it. Can't gather the footy. Marshall charge one direction. Degoe the other. Degoe sore. Spills to Wines. Hand pass to Dixon. Can't link up with Boat. And Elliott for Collingwood. Hand pass to Quaynor. Works it to Mitchell out of defence.
Now it opens up for the Pies. He kicks out towards the wing, and the mark taken by Hoskin Elliott. Just holds up for a moment. Hoskin Elliott. Kick around the southern stand wing. Looking for a marker there and going up in the end, bringing it down. Houston for Port Adelaide. Kicks back towards the defensive 50. Finds his skipper in Jonas. Short to Georgiades. He'll switch it towards right half back, where Butters can run onto the footy. He'll kick to the wing and find Willem Drew. Will this open a path to goal for Port Adelaide? Sets it up for Dixon. Outpointed by Moore. And Darcy Moore takes the defensive mark for the Pies.
Left half back for the Magpies. Final minute of this third quarter. He retreats back inside 50 by foot. And Billy Frampton takes the mark. A bounce as he's 35 metres out from his defensive goal at the city end. Out to Nathan Murphy, who marks it right half back. Around the boundary line to Hoskin Elliott. This is tempo footy for Collingwood. 29 minutes gone. Hoskin Elliott close to the man on the mark. Kicks up the wing. Mitchell takes the mark. The siren sounds for three-quarter time. The Magpies leading by 42 points, 15-7-97 to Port Adelaide, 8-7-55. A better third quarter for Port Adelaide. They kicked 3 goals, 3 to Collingwood's 2-2. But the deficit is still 42 points. For the Magpies, 3 goals to Brody Myercheck, 2 to Josh Dacos, Jamie Elliott and Taylor Adams. Individuals to Degoe, McStay, Sidebottom, McCreary, Nick Dacos and Mason Cox. Meanwhile, for Port Adelaide, 2 to Marshall and 3 to Charlie Dixon. So Dixon with 3 leading the way for Port Adelaide, 2 in the first and 1 in the third. Individuals to Farrell, Fantasia and Rosie. Three-quarter time at the MCG. Saturday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
We are one.
But we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice.
You're listening to ABC Radio.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Pepper wheels and goes quickly. Kicks towards Fantasia, who marks. He goes, looks inside 50. Dixon slips over, recovers and marks. In comes Dixon from right on the arc. Sends it on its journey and through the middle.
So Noble at left half forward, into the pocket. Mychek comes out on the lead. Takes the mark in front of Dan Houston, who sort of looks around at his fellow defenders and questions where was the support. For his third, Brodie Mychek, beautiful off the boot and straight through the middle. Burn Jones feeds it to Bergman. He looks up towards half forward. Junior Rioli takes the mark just outside 50. Had Marshall on in the pocket, now goes for Rosie. Spots him uncontested. And he marks a couple of metres free of Nathan Murphy. Rosie a couple of steps out, opens up the angle. Beautiful finish. Curled it nicely from right to left.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Three-quarter time, Saturday afternoon footy from the MCG. It's Collingwood leading Port Adelaide by 42 points. 15-7-97 to the Power, 8-7-55. Matt Clinch and Ben Cameron calling the action. Lauren Borden down on the boundary. Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke are your experts. After this match, our next stop is the City of Churches, where it's the Adelaide Crows taking on Richmond. To preview that clash, it's a very good afternoon to Aaron Bryans.
Afternoon, Clinch. It's a beautiful day for footy as Adelaide and Richmond hope to kickstart their campaigns. They both fell short in the opening round, but both looking for their first win of the season. There's a ton of changes across the board, all through suspension, injury and omission. The Crows have decided to bring in some smalls in Murphy, Scholl and Parnell for Butts, McAdam and Millerer. Meanwhile, the Tigers have gone tall. They're handing a debut to rookie draftee Tyler Young and a second game to 206cm forward Samson Ryan. The Tigers probably have the favourable lead in as well. They've got a 9-day break up against Adelaide 6, which is on top of the 36-degree scorcher the Crows played last weekend. But last time we saw these two sides play, it was the home side who kicked 5 of the last 7 to snatch a victory. The subs have been named, no late changes as well. Ryan Mansell for the Tigers and Riley Thilthorpe for the Crows. Plenty to play out, Clinchy. Excited to have Port Adelaide's AFLW coach Lauren Arnell back with us for season 2023. She'll be alongside All-Australian Crow Scott Thompson for the call. The Crows and the Tigers up next on Grandstand AFL.
Thanks very much, Aaron. Looking forward to joining you and Neil and Liz Walsh and all the team there at the Adelaide Oval for Adelaide and Richmond to follow. Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas with their assessment at three-quarter time. Collingwood leading Port Adelaide by 42 points.
Well, Burke, it was better by Port Adelaide that quarter. They win that quarter 3-3 to 2-2. So, but why it was better, inside 50, 17-8. They wanted to get the ball. They wanted to try and move the ball, get it inside their forward 50. They probably left a couple out there, Port Adelaide, where the scoreboard could have been a touch closer. They applied better pressure to Collingwood. Collingwood's kicking efficiency for that quarter was 59% only. Much better, getting up in the faces of the Collingwood players, making them make a decision quicker. That's then allows their defenders to set up better. Their defenders were able to take intercept marks that quarter and take the ball forward. So a much better quarter by Port Adelaide, albeit still a big margin at three-quarter time.
Yeah, it was far better, 17-8. Collingwood's kicking efficiency dropped down to 59%, whereas Port Adelaide's was 73%. And a lot of that was the added pressure that Port Adelaide put on them. What I want to see from Port, though, is I want to see their forwards work harder back towards goal. Rioli, Georgiadis, who I reckon is going to be a really good player, just not really working hard enough. I don't see him sprinting out to the wing and then sprinting back inside 50. Marshall had the ball 6 times that quarter, but everything was outside 50 coming up at the footy. Again, I want to see him, like a Nick Riewoldt, get up to the wing and then turn around and sprint back inside over 50. Yeah, they don't seem to be working their opponents over and they're making it too easy for those Collingwood defenders. So better around the middle. let's pick up that forward line, Port Adelaide, and see if you can get yourselves back into this game with a couple of quick early ones.
Final quarter set to get underway. Collingwood leading Port Adelaide by 42 points. Bounce to get things underway. Lycett and Darcy Cameron once more. Cameron wins down the tap for Collingwood to Mitchell. Back to Cameron. Couldn't get a disposal away. Boak slides in and wins it for Port Adelaide. Hand pass to Bergman out to the southern wing for Pal Pepper. It kicks up to half forward and Butters takes the mark. Spots Dixon. Getting back Maynard. Back to the footy. Gives away the free kick. Charlie Dixon, 5 or 6 metres in from the boundary, will shoot from the right forward pocket about 40 metres out.
Travis Boak's desire and will to win that ball out of the middle. That's why Charlie Dixon's having a shot at the other end. Geez, they missed him in that first half. He won't be the sub ever again.
Ken Hinkley spoke to us on the lead and said he hoped his midfield could do without Travis Boak.
Yeah, they can't.
May think twice about that decision. Charlie Dixon has been Port Adelaide's best forward with 3 goals. He crosses through the 50. Tough shot on goal. Good effort. Steers it right to left and just misses.
Put the post in it?
I think so. The goal umpire had a good look at it. I think it just kissed it as it went past. So behind for Port Adelaide to start the final term. Collingwood by 41 points. We'll go down to Lauren Borden in a moment to see if the Pies have activated their sub.
Nick Dacos running to the back pocket and kicking long towards Mason Cox, flying from behind, doesn't quite complete the mark. Roving is Mitchell, gets a kick towards the logo, spoiled away from Elliott. Crispy's there to mop up, handball for Mitchell, stolen by Pal Pepper, floats it towards full forward. No power player there, Murphy's there to mop up, and he kicks it laterally to Noble for the Pies. And they can exit their defensive 50 with a short kick to side bottom. Side bottom, low for a leading Hoskin Elliott, who arrives with a slide to mark. Collingwood by 41 points. Led by 42 at three-quarter time. Hoskin Elliott just sets it up to a contest. Alir in good position. And he takes the chest mark for Port Adelaide. Comes infield to Houston.
Has it at left half back for the Power members side. Georgiades offered a short lead. That was ignored. He comes in ball with a short kick to Burton. Wants to switch it across the half-back line. High kick, which Burne-Jones had to sit underneath for a while. Bobby Hill came charging at him. He's able to take the mark. Right half-back for Port Adelaide. Missed the Butters lead, so comes inboard into the corridor. Finds Houston, back edge of the centre square. Just trying to find some run and dash from behind. Short to Wines, gives it back to Houston. Kicks now inside 50. Georgiades the target with Noble. Awkward bounce. Georgiades read it best. Turns goalward. Snaps on the right and misses to the right-hand side. Through for a minor score. So a couple of behinds for Port Adelaide to start with. It's Collingwood who still lead by 40 points 3 minutes into the final term.
It's a bit of patience and ball use there by Port Adelaide.
Dacos again in the back pocket. A little bounce and then a low ball towards the wing. Cox in best position. Spoilt late by Farrell. Ball at ground level. Cox trying to pick it up. And there's a free kick. Lycett and Cox just getting into it a little bit as well.
Lycett gives him a little knee in the backside to go along with.
So no one's picked up the ball. Lycett says, I'm not getting it for you. The umpire's not getting it, so Mason Cox will have to come and get it. Mason Cox gives him a little tap on the backside as well. So Cox with the free kick. Just in front of the interchange benches. He pulls it off on the 45. Elliott comes up from behind. Forces a contest. Down is Butters. He's a little sore. There's a holding the ball free kick. Going to go the way of the Pies. A few sore players out there. Butters gets up and trudges off. Elliott's a little sore and Taylor Adams has the free kick on the logo. Looks slow inside 50 for McStay. Over his head it goes. No one able to take the mark. Now trying to pick it up, Horn Francis. Eventually getting involved, Hoskin Elliott. And it's held to him. We'll get a ball up inside 50 for the Pies.
Just that kick from Mason Cox. Most other teams would kick that ball down the line. But Collingwood go back straight back through the middle of the ground. Wasn't to the middle of the ground, but it was central.
From the stoppage, Boak has a second go, gets it to Wines, hand pass to Butters, and now to the runner, Pal Pepper. Up towards Georgiades, who marks it right half forward. Marshall's running into space, dinks the kick over the top. Maynard comes from the other direction, spoils it down. Port Adelaide should have won that ball, but it's Moore who gets it to Frampton. He's now tackled by Marshall. And the umpire will ball it up just inside the boundary at right half forward for Port Adelaide. 52 metres out from their goal at the punt road end.
It's better by Marshall. That's what I want to see. Sprinting back inside 50. Georgiades is sprinting back inside 50. A better kick has him having a shot for goal.
It's just a tad too slow as Lysett tries to take it out of the ruck. His hand pass though straight to Tom Mitchell at Collingwood. He works it up the wing. Burne-Jones for Port Adelaide. High kick inside 50. Dixon comes charging out. Underneath it, Maynard couldn't take the mark. His kick is out to Crisp, who fends off Butters. Hand pass to go in halfback. Works it to Taylor Adams. He kicks inboard. Wide of Crisp and Noble. Big ball to be won. Tersman knocks it down to Houston. Turns it over to side bottom of Collingwood. High ball towards half forward. Good block from Hill. Provided a passage and collected by Burne-Jones was McStay. And now De Goey's come in and put down Burne-Jones off the ball. McStay eventually gets to his feet.
So McStay, 70 metres out from goal, wheels onto his left, sets it up to the pocket, looking for a marker. Hoskin Elliott and Elliott launch. Hoskin Elliott goes in again at ground level and is collected high. He'll get the free kick. Deep in the left forward pocket.
Again, it's just players just being sloppy with their tackling, reaching out with their hands, getting someone over the shoulder. It's not a great deal in it, but you get them high, it's a free kick.
Here he goes with the banana and bends it through. Hoskin Elliott puts through the Pies' 16th major. They're 16-7-103. Port Adelaide 8-9-57, a 46-point lead. Lauren Borden downstairs.
Bit happening on the Collingwood bench at the moment. Brody Mychek had a nasty gash on his left index finger, so he's had to go down to the rooms for that one, probably to get stitches. And Collingwood has just activated its sub. Reece McInnes coming on. We'll just have to work out who's come off for him.
I think it might be Mychek, Lauren. Collingwood might have just activated that sub and thought that's enough for their key forward.
He's had a good game, Mychek. He's kicked the 3 goals for the game, 10 possessions, 5 marks. So he's definitely done his part today for the Pies.
Adam Romanascus with you on ABC Sport. Reece McInnes kicked a couple of goals as the sub last week in the final term against the Cats. Lysett and Cameron in the middle of the MCG. Free kick for a hold going Collingwood's way. Mitchell was held when not in possession. He plays on. Boat comes charging at him. High kick inside 50. Charging out McStay. Gets to the back. Elliott trying to get onto it. Bumped off it by Burne-Jones. It spills to Hill. Dodging and weaving. Hand pass to Elliott. Back to Hill. Superb finish. All the tricks on display. Underground hand passes and great evasive sidestepping. They're going to be fun to watch. Elliott and Hill in the same side. Collingwood with their second goal of the final term. It's a 52-point margin. 17-7-109 to Port Adelaide 8-9-57. So that's the why, Remmer. Tell us the how they managed to do it.
Oh, wow. I don't think you can't teach that stuff with Hill and Bobby Hill. That's just, and Jamie Elliott, sorry, that's just natural football instinct. The little tap by Elliott to start with, then the underground handball from Hill, then the handball back to Bobby Hill from Elliott, and the finish. That's just pure talent, pure class.
It's a highlight reel, that one.
In the middle, Lysett wins the tap. Pendlebury on it for the Pies. Bounces it towards Hill. Bounces over his head. Going after it. There, and able to mop up. Put Adelaide through Burne-Jones, though. Jonas is under pressure. Hill swoops on the footy again. His handball back to Mitchell. He tries to backfeed it. It's stolen by Rosie, who will kick Port Adelaide to the wing. Pepper twists and turns and kicks forward of the wing. Big launch coming from Butters. He can't get a hand on it. Out the back, though, Dixon to Fantasia. Clever lateral kick. And onto the chest of Georgiades. 45 out. Just ever so slightly right of centre.
That's a good option because he could have played on Georgiades, but I think slow this game down a little bit. Let your defenders have a bit of a rest. Go back with the set shot.
Would have liked Willie Rioli to actually lead, at least give him an option to choose whether to go back or not. But he basically turned his back on him and said, "No, mate, you have a shot from 50. I'm a bit puffed. I've had one effort."
Hasn't had his biggest day, but Georgiades from 50 out to the right. They're behind Collingwood by 51 points, nearly 10 travelled final term.
Nick Dacos looks to bring Collingwood back into play. Not a great kick, looking for brother Josh. And Travis Boak read it best. He takes the intercepting mark right on 50.
They do wax a little bit, the Dacos brothers.
Look for each other?
Oh, yeah. And I get that. That's brotherly love, I suppose.
Can a 34-year-old Travis Boak kick 50 still?
No.
He's out to the right. He's taking a while, as he'll try and muster up all his momentum and poke it to the goal square where Georgiades comes out. He marks in front of Nick Dacos. Collingwood defence a little bit lap-minded to work out that Boak didn't quite have the journey.
You're right there, Clinchy. Even though you're 50 points up, you've got to keep your head in the game and go, there's no way this bloke can kick the ball 53 metres or 55 to get it over the line. He's going to pass it short to somebody. So you let a key forward just trot out and take a mark uncontested. It's just dumb.
6 marks and a couple of behinds for Mitch Georgiades. Hard in the right forward pocket, 35 metres out. This time he steers it through. Port Adelaide with their first goal of the final term. Here comes at the 11-minute mark of the final term. Collingwood have put on 2 at the other end. It's a 45-point lead the Magpies' way. 17-7, 109 to Port Adelaide, 9-10-64. Georgiades with his first.
Travis Boak, he's up to 10 possessions, so that's, what did he come? Maybe the 10-minute mark of that
third quarter, yep.
So, basically a quarter of football, and he had 10 possessions. And just, look, his leadership is unquestioned, but I think it's more the run that he provides, which is what separates him from other Port Adelaide players. So, I don't think we'll be seeing Travis Boak as a sub again.
I'd like to see Georgiades' GPS. I reckon he's run more this quarter than he did the whole first half and getting the results.
Cox and Dixon in the middle. Falls in the lap of Cox. Tries to get a kick away. Winds onto the footy though for Port. Handball to Farrell. Knocked down by DeGoey. Gives it off to Nick Dacos. Kicks inside 50. And Mitchell's all alone. He takes the mark 40 metres out. Just slightly to the left-hand side.
Lockie Jones has had a good old-fashioned stinker today. He started off tagging Dacos, and that didn't last more than a quarter. He's fumbled the ball, I reckon, 2 out of 3 times it's come near him. And now he lets Tom Mitchell take a contested mark against him. Or it's uncontested. Started off being contested, but he pushed him out of the way.
The 2018 Brownlow medalist comes in and puts it through off his left boot. Just puts another little cherry on top for the Pies. They're 18-7, 115. Port Adelaide 9-10-64. It's back out to 51 points.
And you look, Berkey, Tom Mitchell today, 22 possessions, 13 of those contested, 7 clearances, and now a goal. It's a different Tom Mitchell. And I actually quite like this version.
Yep, me too.
I quite like at Hawthorn and even Sydney. He was such an accumulator, at times was up around the 50 possession mark with Hawthorn, just how much ball he used to win. But this version, I think, of Tom Mitchell is so much more efficient, the way he's playing and getting value for possession.
22 disposals for Tom Mitchell, back in the middle of the ground. Cox couldn't get the clearance, tries to knock it on, but it's Port Adelaide through Rosie who has it. Hand pass to Horne-Francis, short to Butters. Thought about giving it back to Horne-Francis, now kicks directly inside 50. Quaynor trying to pull in the one-handed mark. Did that with Fantasia having his other arm pinned. It was a good mark from IQ3. 45 metres out from his defensive goal. Kick hung in the air for a moment. Murphy had to wear the contact from Bergman, but claimed the mark at right half back. Collingwood by 51 points. Over 100 points once more. As Murphy's kick towards Hoskin Elliott, it hung in the breeze just a moment. Non-officiating umpire says a free kick as Mason Cox was down by Tom Jonas, and Collingwood will take it between wing and half forward member side.
Another holding free kick.
So Cox will just set it up inside 50. Trying to find a marker through the hands of Aaliyah. Jonas out the back. His handball errant. Hoskin Elliott picks it up, slips over as he kicks. Now Burton's there. He'll snap it out of bounds on the full. Trying to dump kick it out of the defensive 50. And Noble will get the free kick for Collingwood. Collingwood leading by 51 points. Led by 49 at the half. Game high 55 late in the second term. Noble goes into the pocket, trying to find McCreery. Can't quite mark it. Getting involved Houston. Knocks it out of play. A throw in right forward pocket.
Thrown back into play. Dixon sets himself in front of Cox. Collingwood deep in attack. He gets it down to Powell Pepper. High kick out of defence. Darcy Moore leads up to the footing. He takes the mark on his chest between the centre circles and half forward. 42nd Collingwood captain in no urgency to move it inside 50. Now sends it in the direction of Mason Cox. Flying was Jones. It gets at the very back to Aaliyah. He sends Port Adelaide into the back pocket, and Connor Rosie takes the mark.
Rosie stops, props, kicks across the defensive 50 and spots up Bergman. Takes the mark, then chips it short, sets a bit of a task for his teammate Houston. Adams breaks it up, knocks it down. Josh Dacos off the Noble. The Pies could be out the back of Lear. Leaping up, he fists it away and forces a stoppage. Welcome into the game, Reece McInnes.
But that's Lear's strength there. Off his opponent, comes in late, spoil into the crowd. Whereas earlier in this game, it was grab, hold, get in the wrestle.
Dixon takes it out of the ruck. Handball away to Bergman. Now Powell Pepper snaps Port out of their defensive 50 and Junior Rioli can mark.
Georgiades, sprint, go, run, this way. Don't just stand there with your hand up. You've got Noble on you.
He didn't listen to Nathan Burke. He gave the hand pass to Burton. He kicks up to Georgiades. Did take a good mark, though, against Noble. Pokes it over the top. It's over the head of Marshall. Charging back more. He tries to slap it to Fantasia. Quaynor gets back. Collingwood win all the one-on-ones. Gets it to Frampton. Dersma goes for a massive fly straight into the back of Noble, and he never really got near the footy. In the back, or an unrealistic marking attempt, and Noble will take it at right half back for the Pies. Collingwood by 51 points, 18-7, 115 to Port Adelaide 9-10-64. 17 minutes gone, final term. After this match, we're off to the Adelaide Oval. It's the Crows and the Tigers on ABC Sport.
Georgiades ended up getting the footy, but should have made far more of it by just 3 seconds earlier.
Noble, long kick to the wing. Underneath it, Cox, and also Lycett off hands out of play. Ross Lyon used to get into his Freo players, hailing a cab. Berkey didn't like it when they were standing there, hand up.
Yep, that's what he did. If he takes off 3 seconds earlier, it's another 10 metres forward, gets extra time to hit Marshall. Marshall has a shot for goal.
Both rucks go to ground. Crisp swoops onto the footy. Handball to Pendlebury, to Quaynor, back to Crisp. Attacking edge of the square. Has McCreery inside 50 and finds his chest. Takes the mark, 40 metres out, 30-degree angle to the left-hand side.
It's a great overlap run by the Collingwood halfback flankers. They push up really high, Noble and Quaynor and these guys, and just such an attacking force.
The players pushing and shoving inside 50. McCreery already has one, comes in and doubles his tally and sends it to a game-high lead for the Pies. 57 points, 19-7, 121. They lead Port Adelaide 9-10-64, 19 minutes played, fourth term.
13 goal kickers, Berkey, for the Pies. So out of 19, so they've really shared it around. My check with 3 is the most on the ground for Collingwood. So it's that different look going inside forward 50. There's inconsistency with who they go to. So that just it hasn't allowed Port Adelaide's defence to settle at all today. Just multiple options, lots of movement, unselfishness. Terrific game, a terrific team game by the Pies today.
Adam Ramanauskas with you on ABC Sport. 125 points last week for Collingwood against Geelong. 121 points today. You'd have to go to the record books to say the last time they scored back-to-back 100-point games. Powell Pepper couldn't break clear. Comes to Lysette, knocked it down to Drew of Port Adelaide. Hand pass over the head of Wines. Quaynor tries to rush back. Murphy comes charging out. Tackled by Wines when he wasn't in possession. Collingwood will take the free kick through Nathan Murphy on the defensive 50. Magpies have the Tigers next Friday night. Sets up a blockbuster match as Murphy goes short to Nick Dacos. Around the southern wing, underneath it, Farrell's able to juggle the mark in front of Reef McGuinness, the sub.
Interestingly, Clinchy, rounds 1 and 2 last year. For the last
Nowhere
time.
near as far as what I thought it would be further back.
They scored back-to-back 100-point games. Port Adelaide chipping it on the wing. Rosie short to Farrell. Goes with a penetrating low ball inside 50. The Pies are there and a good mark. Darcy Cameron, the big ruck, dropping back, takes the defensive mark. Kicks it short to Moore. And the Pies pretty content to just slow it down. They were electrifying earlier, were Collingwood. Kicks it short to Quaynor. Moves it on to Crisp. On the wing now, Collingwood, looking for McStay leading up. Marks casually. Can he look inside 50? He'll chip it over the top to Crisp. Second involvement in this chain. Tells them to settle down. McStay loops around the back. He ignores that. Crisp will go low into the pocket, looking for a leading target. Beautiful kick. And onto the chest of the substitute. And Reef McInnes can mark a couple of metres in from the boundary line in the right forward pocket.
There was, counting the player on the mark, there were 16 Port Adelaide players in front of him that he had to navigate, and Collingwood get an uncontested mark.
A left foot snap to send the margin beyond 10 goals is good from McInnes. A double cobra to the crowd as well. Collingwood leading by 63 points, 127 to 9-10-64.
I like this by the Pies because they could have easily given up, 5 or 6 goals in this last quarter and still had a comfortable win. But it's now 5-1 in their favour in this last quarter. We saw last year how important percentage points are in this competition when it was such a tight year last year. We're hoping it will be a tight competition again this year. So any and every percentage point, and to get them early in the season, will be vital.
When Elliott plays no respect to his opponent and just lets him trot out and take an uncontested mark, it's not hard to kick goals.
Yeah. Back in the middle of the ground. Lysette got it down to Travis Boak. He gets the clearance and kicks inside 50. Powell Pepper couldn't get there. Maynard for Collingwood. Kicks out to the southern wing. The foot races on. Boak races after it. Crisp after him. And the former Port Adelaide captain slides across the boundary line and out of play for a boundary throw-in.
And other teams will watch how Collingwood have dismantled Port Adelaide today. It's really just been leading at the football. Port Adelaide's defenders love sitting off, and they've been really exposed badly today.
Lysette taps it down, got it to Dursman and then to Burne-Jones. He's run down. Collingwood take it back. Mitchell with a look-away hand pass to Nick Dacos. Up to Bobby Hill at left half forward. He puts the foot on the accelerator. Kicks off the outside of the boot inside 50. Jonas spoils it down. Taylor Adams front and centre. Hand pass looking for Josh Dacos. Willie Rioli not with a great effort. Dacos centres it up and finds Crisp. He hand passes to Elliott. Snaps on the left and misses. To the left-hand side, a minor score. 64 points, Collingwood's lead. Now at the 24-minute mark of the final term.
Burton brings it back in, looking for Georgiades. Bounces in front of him, waits for it. Now kicks around the members' wing. Moore comes across and intercept marks.
Todd Marshall, why aren't you there? The ball's coming around the boundary. The play kicking it is under pressure. Darcy Moore says, I know exactly where you can kick it. You only kick it at one spot. And Todd Marshall is nowhere to be seen. Terrible forward play.
Moore goes back inside 50 and McStay's there. He marks 47 metres out. And he'll go back and kick for goal.
Sometimes as a defender, you've got to think, as a forward, you've got to think like a defender.
Yeah.
And I'm going to intercept this ball because it's just going to be a quick kick out. It can't be lace out on your chest all the time.
Collingwood really looking to drive home the advantage. McStay's kick is out to the left and knocked through by Lycett. So a minor score, 129, plays 9-10-64. It's going to be a big win for the Pies.
So Farrell looks to bring Port Adelaide back into play. Crowd posted at 60,744 fans. Long kick out of defence, up towards Marshall. Rose on the back of Cameron, couldn't take the mark. Georgiades' his hand pass inboard in front of Rosie. Tries to knock it onto his own advantage. Quaynor brought him down. Side bottom 1-2 with Tom Mitchell. Kicks out to the southern wing. It's over the head of Crisp. He gathers in front of Dersma. Dersma's offered a good chase. Crisp lost his footing. Somehow still got the hand pass away to Hill. Works it to left half forward. Pendlebury chips it inside 50. Nick Dacos slides in front of McInnes and takes the mark.
For Collingwood, if you're not a Collingwood person, they're easy to dislike. Let's be totally honest.
Yes.
But it's just traditionally deep ingrained in you. You
don't barrack for them, you don't like them.
No, you just don't like them, but you've got to admire and almost like the way that they're playing football, the way they're going about things, the way that they're being selfless. They share the ball around, their two-way run, the hard effort that they put in. It's a really likeable style of football.
Dacos was stretching for cramp, then he veers out to the right and goes bang!
You don't like that.
Kicks his second, the 20-year-old second-year Pie. Just foxing with Port Adelaide there. Collingwood lead by 71 points, a game-high margin. 21-9, 135 to Port Adelaide 9-10-64.
Well, 32 possessions, 2 goals. 22 of those possessions, 22 of those possessions are uncontested. Just shows his running power. You know, he works and just works and works and works, and that's why he gets the football. You know, sometimes football's pretty simple if you want to work hard. And Nick Dacos simply works hard. They tried Lockie Jones as a tag early in this game, didn't work. And now Dacos has just been able to run around and really do what he wants after quarter time.
Flyers Pies are flying to start 2023. Winning it down Cameron. Laying it down for Adams. No one able to really gain clean possession. Eventually Adams squeezes forward a kick. Bouncing ball. Able to gather it crisp. He's wrapped up quickly. Gets a handball out. And we'll try again in the middle. Kick the last 4 goals, Collingwood. Now to a 71-point advantage. Cameron knocking it down towards Wines. Then follows up Cameron to Adams. To Mitchell. His handball knocked down. Now knocks it out. Crisp squeezes a kick inside 50. Alir comes out at the footy. Gathers it well. Runs away from them. Will kick towards the wing. In the Georgiades direction. Bounces past him and Noble. He'll go back and get it, Georgiades. He's run down from behind. And he's caught holding the ball. And Noble lets him know a thing or two about it. He'll get the free kick right beneath the members' wing. John Noble, Collingwood leading by 71 points. 29 minutes travelled, final term.
Noble looks to kick towards half forward. His kick just hangs in the breeze a bit and doesn't reach McCreary. It's out on the full. And Port Adelaide will take it back at left half back. Ollie Wines looks to take the free kick. The showdown next week for Port Adelaide against the Adelaide Crows on Saturday night. A big occasion before the Crows face the Tigers. Long kick around the wing. Darcy Moore spoils it down. Georgiades with the hand pass to Marshall. Looks into the pocket, trying to find Junior Rioli. Sliding on his knees, it never got to him. And Quaynor picks it up for Collingwood. Kicks up towards half-back. Darcy Cameron may have used some hands in the back of Scott Lysett, but what a way to finish. The perfect Pies are 2 from 2. Full of glitz and scoring power. They down Port Adelaide by 71 points and set an early benchmark for 2023.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
The Magpies led by 23 points at quarter time, having kicked 7 goals to 3 in the opening term. There were 5 lead changes in the first 15 minutes, and then Collingwood kicked 9 consecutive goals from late in the first quarter into the second. They led by 49 points at half-time, 42 at three-quarter time, before a 6-goal-to-1 final term, 21-9, 135 to Port Adelaide, 9-10-64. As Nathan Burke said, for some they'll be hard to like, but they must be admired with their early form and their highlight displays, which we've seen in the opening couple of weeks. Brodie Myercheck booted 3 goals for the Magpies. 2 to Jamie Elliott, to Josh Dacos, to Beau McCreary, to Nick Dacos. Individuals to DeGoey, Mitchell, McStay, Sidebottom, Hill, McGuinness and Mason Cox. While for Port Adelaide, 3 goals to Charlie Dixon, 2 goals to Marshall, individuals to Farrell, Boak, Fantasia, Georgiades and Rosie. Collingwood winners by 71 points in front of 60,744 fans. We'll be crossing to the Adelaide Oval in around 7 minutes' time. The thoughts of Adam Ramanauskas and Nathan Burke.
Well, it was a completely dominant display from Collingwood. The first 15 minutes were goal for goal in this game. And then towards the end of that last quarter, the final 10 minutes of that quarter, Collingwood piled on 5 goals in that last quarter, in the first 4 of the second quarter. And it was game over from there. Really concerning for Port Adelaide contested football, 155-98 in Collingwood's favour. Collingwood out-tackled Port Adelaide. Collingwood had more clearances than Port Adelaide, but only 10 more inside 50s. So they've only had 57 inside 50s. Collingwood, they've scored on 30 occasions, 21 goals, 9. So extremely efficient when they're going inside forward 50. Berkey and I were critical of Port Adelaide's defenders all day, just their starting points, starting behind, allowing Collingwood's forwards to lead at the ball, hit that target, lower the eyes, unselfish play by Collingwood. You mentioned the 13 goal kickers by the Pies, just the teamwork. The want to get your teammate involved, the want to make your teammate feel good about himself. But again, we're going to talk about it a lot this year. They are a powerful running team. They run to outnumber at every single contest that they can. There was the last moment here, Georgiades wins the ball and John Noble chases him down, but I'm watching Darcy Cameron, the ruckman, sprint over to try and make that contest a 2-on-1. Just to help his teammate. I think when you've got that unselfish play from all players, that's a recipe for success. And that's what I think Collingwood have shown last year, and in the first 2 games of this year, they've shown an appetite to work for their teammate, to help their teammate. Their defenders didn't have to do much today. They only, they defended 47 inside 50s by Port Adelaide. But I didn't feel their defenders were threatened. I didn't feel their defenders were tested at all today. You've always got to test the opposition, and Port Adelaide just didn't have the opportunity to do that. It was a really disappointing performance by Port Adelaide after last week's really good win against Brisbane, but all credit to the Pies. I think it's real now. I think I've seen enough to go. I don't think last year was a fluke.
No, I'm starting to be a believer as well. The stats I call the get the hands dirty stats. So the contested possession, clearances, tackles, and ground ball gets. Collingwood was at plus 113 in all of those, and those ground ball stats 93 to 68, so plus 25. And to me, that is a real sign of there's a loose ball on the ground. Who's going to work harder to get numbers to that loose ball? Who's going to push to get there first? And it was Collingwood doing that really, really well all day, getting that ball inside 50. And just the selflessness. There was hardly any times throughout the day when I thought, no, that bloke's bitten off more than he can chew. He didn't take that first option there. Wasn't instinctively giving the ball to somebody in a better position. And I didn't see that at all from Collingwood throughout the whole day. Port Adelaide, on the other hand, they just didn't come prepared to get their hands dirty. And as I said at half-time, they won uncontested possession last week by 127. They thought they were going to come here and do that again. Get a whole bunch of uncontested possessions. Everyone's going to have 25, 30 touches, and it's all going to look wonderful here at the MCG on a beautiful day. It doesn't work out that way. You've got to come prepared to get your hands dirty, and then the other stuff will flow from that. I want to see them work harder too. I want to see their tools work a lot harder than what they do. They work up towards the footy, but there's no turnaround and sprint back towards the goal. Marshall and Georgiades and Dixon and these guys, they've got to get on their bike a lot more. And if I'd grab their GPS during the week, and I'd be saying, you know what, I want an extra 15, 20% on top of what you give me each week for next week.
Nathan Burke and Adam Ramanauskas with their assessment of Collingwood's 71-point win over Port Adelaide, 21-9, 135 to the power, 9-10-64. Adam Ramanauskas, the 3-2-1 for the ABC Footballer of the Year.
One to steal side bottom, 24 possessions and a goal. I just thought his run, his work rate, how he's able to set up the Pies today, I thought was very, very good. 2 to Darcy Cameron. He's had the 18 possessions as a ruckman, but he was really influential. He was around the ground. His work rate. He won that battle comfortably against Scott Lycett today, where we thought that might have been a challenge, and then 3 to Nick Dacos. 32 possessions, 2 goals, 6 inside 50s. He was comfortably the best player on the ground today.